Chapter 1146, I am the most low-key. Yun Chujio bared her little white teeth. So what if it's dangerous? I won't really lose my life anyway. Where is this trial tower? You specially gave me 8 to 10 days of leave. I'll go and challenge it. The trial tower is behind the Tianyuan Academy's library. It just so happens that it's closed tomorrow. You should go first. If you still don't come out in 3 days, I'll help you ask for leave from your teacher. Dean Huangfu said. 10 days or 8 days. This Yun Chujio really didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. With her level of spiritual power, she probably couldn't even last a quarter of an hour. However, he had better not tell her the truth so that she wouldn't pester him again. He had to get rid of this little rascal first. Although Yun Chujio was shrewd, she still couldn't see through the old fox's thoughts. She immediately expressed her gratitude. Dean Huangfu touched his nose guiltily. He hurriedly changed the topic. Well, since Wu Yun has already drifted away, I'll open the isolation array. The way I said it is the same as last time. Oh right, it seems that a piece of Wu Yun has drifted away just now. I don't know which unlucky person it struck. Dean, please wait a moment. I'll transfer my spirit energy back to the first level of the spirit sect before you open the isolation array. I'm a person who keeps a low profile the most. It's best not to agitate others. Yun Chujio said with a smile. The corner of Dean Huangfu's eyes twitched. Forget it. Are you pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger to cheat others? Dean Huangfu opened the isolation array while cursing in his heart. At this time, the surrounding people also gathered around. Dean Huangfu asked, who was struck by the heavenly lightning just now? Deputy Dean Jiang held back his laughter and said, Dean, the heavenly lightning struck Deputy Dean Yin just now. Look, isn't he meditating over there? Dean Huangfu looked in the direction where Deputy Dean Jiang was pointing and saw that Deputy Dean Yin was seriously injured again. His clothes were covered in blood and he was recuperating. Dean Huangfu couldn't help but gloat in his heart. This Yun Chujio was really Yin Haoyu's nemesis. The heavenly lightning was supposed to strike her, but why did it strike Yin Haoyu every time? It was really funny. Yun Chujio also saw Yin Haoyu's miserable state. She said in surprise, Aya, what's going on? Isn't the heavenly lightning supposed to strike me? Why does it strike Deputy Dean Yin every time? Could it be that he did something bad, so the heavenly lightning conveniently punished him on behalf of the heavens? Although Deputy Dean Yin was seriously injured, his hearing was still pretty good. He heard Yun Chujio's words clearly and was so angry that he spat out another mouthful of blood. Yun Chujio, you bitch. Initially, he wanted to let Xinlian kill you on the life and death arena, but you provoked him again and again. He really couldn't stand it anymore. I'll find an opportunity to kill you. Io, Deputy Dean Yin spat out blood again. Is he going to die? This person can't do anything shameful. God's eyes are bright and clear. He can take care of the evil people at the same time. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Deputy Dean Yin was so angry that he spat out another mouthful of blood and fainted on the ground. Yin Xinlian and the others quickly fed Deputy Dean Yin pills and finally woke him up. The first thing Deputy Dean Yin said when he woke up was, help me back to my courtyard immediately. He felt that if he was still here, he would definitely be angered by Yun Chujio until he vomited blood again. Stupid girl, just you wait, I won't forgive you. The hearts of the bystanders trembled. Damn it, this Yun Chujio could make Deputy Dean Yin so angry just by talking. It was better for them to not provoke her in the future. Although her spiritual power was useless, her words were too overbearing. They could not afford to offend her and could only hide. Chapter 1147 Yun Chujio sneaked in the next morning. Yun Chujio hopped out of the dormitory. After bypassing the library, there was indeed a pitch-black 9-story pagoda standing there. At the door was a teacher who was yawning and dozing off. Teacher, I want to enter the trial tower. How does it work? The teacher sized up Yun Chujio, thinking that he had heard wrong. What did you say? I want to quickly raise my cultivation level. The dean has asked me to enter the trial tower. Please tell me how to enter the trial tower. You want to enter the trial tower? Could it be that you are making fun of me early in the morning? Only a student with the cultivation level of a spirit saint would dare to try this trial tower. Why are you, a first-level spirit sect student, causing trouble? Go and stay where you are. The teacher said impatiently. Yun Chujio explained for a while more, but the teacher still refused to give in. He thought that Yun Chujio was messing around. A first-level spirit sect student entering the trial tower. This was simply messing around. Just as Yun Chujio was at her wit's end, more and more senior students came over to enter the trial tower. They were also stunned when they saw Yun Chujio. What was this Yun Chujio doing here in the trial tower? Those students each paid 10 high-grade spirit stones, and the teacher handed each of them a jade token. Those students placed the jade token in the groove on the trial tower's door, and the trial tower's door opened. Yun Chujio was very curious, so she stood at the trial tower's door and looked inside, wanting to see what was inside. No one expected that there was a powerful suction force inside the trial tower, and Yun Chujio was forcefully sucked in. Hey! You! Why did you sneak in? The teacher didn't notice it before. When he raised his head, he saw Yun Chujio rush in. He thought that Yun Chujio had snuck in by herself. Just as he was about to stop her, it was too late. The trial tower's door closed with a bang. The teacher was so anxious that he was hopping around. Cold sweat immediately broke out on his forehead. He never expected that Yun Chujio would be so daring to sneak in. What should he do? The teacher had no choice but to take out his identity jade token and send a message to Deputy Dean Xiao. Not long after, Deputy Dean Xiao, Dean Huangfu, and the others all came. What's going on? Yun Chujio entered the trial tower without permission. Deputy Dean Xiao asked anxiously. The teacher's forehead was covered in cold sweat. An hour ago, Yun Chujio said that she wanted to enter the trial tower. I think she must be messing around. Why would a first-level spirit sect enter the trial tower? I didn't expect that a few senior students would enter the trial tower after receiving the jade tokens. Yun Chujio actually sneaked in with them. By the time I wanted to stop her, it was already too late. Instructor Xiao immediately said unhappily, as the instructor guarding the trial tower, how could you be so careless? The trial tower was very dangerous. If there was no passage jade token, she wouldn't be able to come out. Wouldn't Yun Chujio have to die and live countless times in there? Dean Huangfu let out a long sigh. This is all my fault. If I hadn't told her that the trial tower could help her break through her cultivation bottleneck, she wouldn't have come to this trial tower. What should we do? The students who enter are all in different places. There's no way to know what's going on inside. Besides, unless the trial tower is destroyed, there's no way for her to come out. Even if we don't talk about anything else, she'll starve to death. Deputy Dean Jiang was also frowning. Chapter 1148. Someone had broken into the second level. The news of Yun Chujio sneaking into the trial tower quickly spread throughout the Tianyuan Academy. Although it was Sun Xiu, many people still knew that Yun Chujio had sneaked into the trial tower. Some people were extremely worried, some people had the mentality of watching a show, while others were gloating over Yun Chujio's misfortune. TSK, this Yun Chujio relied on her sharp tongue to stir up trouble. Let's see what she will do this time. What to do? She will probably die inside. This trial tower is an ancient divine artifact. Even His Excellency and young Master Wuji cannot break it. Yun Chujio will never be able to come out. When the Yin sisters heard the news, they were extremely excited. Sister, this time, Yun Chujio is dead for sure. She dared to sneak into the trial tower without knowing clearly. She is really courting death. Yin Sulian gloated. Yin Xinlian sneered, HMPH. This Yun Chujio always thought that she was smart. This time, she was just waiting to spend the rest of her life in the trial tower. Moreover, she was constantly bitten to death by demonic beasts. She originally wanted to kill her on the life and death arena. It was really too easy for her. This is called retribution. Sister, Yun Chujio has already been eliminated. Now, you have to deal with Qin Mingzhu and Bailey Yan, the two bitches. Previously, when the palace master's wife came, they were all on Yun Chujio's side. Yin Sulian gnashed her teeth and said. The two of them are different from Yun Chujio. Their family background is on par with ours. We have to take it slowly. Let's go and tell this good news to fourth grandfather. He will definitely be very happy. After the Yin sisters told Deputy Dean Yin about Yun Chujio sneaking into the trial tower, Deputy Dean Yin felt that half of his injuries had healed. This smelly girl was really courting death. Such a way of dying was simply too miserable. To be bitten to death repeatedly by demon beasts, then resurrected, and then bitten to death again was truly retribution. Dean Huanfu's intestines were turning green with regret at this moment. It was already useless to blame the tutor who was guarding the trial tower. Moreover, Yun Chujio took up the majority of the responsibility. This fellow was an unruly person. How could he be so mischievous to actually barge in? Dean Huanfu felt that the dumbest thing he had done was to only tell Yun Chujio about the trial tower and not tell her that she had to rely on the jade token to enter before she could come out. Dean Huanfu thought of the importance his esteemed self and young master Wuji placed on Yun Chujio and frowned even more. If these two great Buddhas were to find out about this matter, it was likely that there would be a huge commotion. However, the matter was so important that Dean Huangfu had no choice but to privately send people to send letters to Di Baiming and Xue Wuji. Dean Huangfu was sighing and frowning when he heard the tutor who was guarding the trial tower exclaim, "Heavens! Someone has reached the second level." Dean Huangfu raised his head and saw that the second level of the trial tower had indeed lit up. However, what was so strange about it? Although the first level of the Spirit Saint realm could not reach the second level, those above the fourth level of the Spirit Saint realm could reach the second level. Deputy Dean Xiao also glared at the instructor unhappily. "What are you shouting for? What's so strange about entering the second level? It's not like you've reached the sixth level." "No, none of the students who entered today have exceeded the fourth level of the Holy Spirit realm," the teacher mumbled. In his heart, he hated Yun Chujio to the core. "Why did you sneak in for no reason? You've really implicated me." Although everyone felt that it was a small piece of news that someone had skipped a level and entered the second level, it was nothing compared to Yun Chujio's matter, so no one paid too much attention to it. Chapter 1149, was Yun Chujio. Just as everyone was about to disperse, the people in the trial tower came out one after another. After all, the process of dying in there was too torturous. They would not be able to hold on for more than 4 hours. After they came out and heard about Yun Chujio's matter, they also discussed animatedly. "We were all separated when we were teleported in, so we did not have the chance to meet each other. Otherwise, we could have brought Yun Chujio out. Who asked her to sneak in by herself? She deserved it. Yeah, this Yun Chujio is too bold. This time, she's completely finished. She won't be able to come out of the trial tower for the rest of her life. I guess she will be trapped in the first level of the trial tower for the rest of her life. After all, it's a fool's dream for her to break through to the second level with her spiritual power level." At this moment, the teacher guarding the Tower of Trials cried out in shock, "Heavens! Impossible! How is this possible?" Everyone looked at him in confusion, especially the few principals who felt that this teacher Mao was usually rather reliable. Why was she acting so abnormally today? Could it be that she had contracted some kind of illness? Seeing that everyone did not understand, Teacher Mao stammered in excitement, "Everyone, come out. There are still people on the second level." Yun Chuzhou. Deputy Dean Xiao glared at him. "Why can't you even speak clearly? What do you mean?" Teacher Mao took a deep breath. After calming himself down, he said, "A total of 12 students entered today. Now that everyone has come out, but the second level of the trial tower is still lit up. This means that the person on the second level of the trial tower is Yun Chuzhou." Everyone immediately exploded. Impossible. This was impossible. Teacher Mao must be spouting nonsense. Only the fourth level of the Holy Spirit realm could make it to the second level of the Tower of Trials. Yun Chuzhou was trash from the first level of the Spirit sect. How could she make it to the second level? Could it be that there was something wrong with the Tower of Trials? Everyone felt that this was impossible. How could Yun Chuzhou make it to the second level? Could it be that she was bluffing? Dean Huangfu suddenly thought of Yun Chuzhou's abnormal talent and could not help but sigh. Such a good seedling had died trapped in this trial tower. "I am a sinner of the Tianyuan Academy." Deputy Dean Xiao muttered softly, "Actually, Yun Chuzhou still has a way to get out." Everyone's eyes turned to him. Dean Huangfu asked excitedly, "What way?" "If Yun Chuzhou passes the 9th level of the trial tower, she can be ejected out." Deputy Dean Xiao did not even have the confidence to say these words himself. In tens of thousands of years, no one had ever passed the 9th level of the trial tower. Not to mention Yun Chuzhou, who was at the first level of the Spirit sect. When everyone heard Deputy Dean Xiao's words, they were instantly discouraged. This possibility did not exist at all. Even a 5th level spiritual venerable could only reach the 6th level, not to mention Yun Chuzhou, who was on the first level of the Spirit sect. Dean Huangfu sighed. "Everyone, there's no need to stand guard here. Go back and think of a way to save Yun Chuzhou." Deputy Dean Xiao and the others knew that it was useless to stand guard here. They dispersed one after another. Only Teacher Mao, Feng Ming, and the others were still waiting outside the trial tower. Feng Ming and the others recalled the incident at the Azure Mystic Continent's Wuwei Tower. At that time, everyone thought that Junior Sister Yun wouldn't be able to pass the 9th level, but Junior Sister Yun had done it. They believed that she would be able to do it this time. All right. These three people were filled with a mysterious confidence towards Yun Chuzhou. Chapter 1150. Lack of intelligence. 2 hours ago, when Yun Chuzhou was poking her head out of the trial tower, she was sucked into the trial tower by the sudden suction force. She entered the first level of the trial tower with a dumbfounded expression. "Fuck. What's going on? I haven't received my jade token yet." Yun Chuzhou felt as though she was bickering with a dog. She was not stupid. Those people who entered had received their jade tokens. They must have activated their jade tokens before they could leave. A white light flashed. Yun Chuzhou realized that she was in a sea of water. The sea of water was bone-chilling. A thought quickly flashed through Yun Chuzhou's mind. Fuck, could it be that the spirit of the trial tower deliberately played a trick on her? Yun Chuzhou thought to herself, Qi Ling. After bringing her in and trapping her inside, she could only live and die again. She had tortured her countless times. It was simply a lack of virtue. Damn Qi Ling, don't let me catch you, or I will torture you to death. Although Yun Chuzhou was thinking angrily, she still activated the water repellent bead first and then floated above the sea. This guy tried the sound transmission talisman, and as expected, it didn't work at all. It was estimated that the concealment talisman and the sudden rupture talisman were also useless. Master, are we trapped in this trial tower? Xiao Hanio said anxiously from inside the spirit beast bag. Yun Chuzhou touched her nose. Yes, it should be like this. We were tricked by the shameless Qi Ling again. Master, if you say that, I will be very sad. You can't just knock over our Qi Ling with one hit. Mao Mauchio said aggrievedly. Forget it. You tricked me so badly back then that you almost fed me to the scorpions. Just stay away. Yun Chujio said angrily. Mao Mauchio saw that Yun Chujio had dug up the past and immediately did not dare to say anything. After all, this fellow had also tricked Yun Chujio badly back then. Master, how are we going to get out? If we don't go out, although we won't starve to death, you will die countless times. Moreover, you won't be able to see your pretty boy anymore. Xiao Hanio said. Yun Chujio touched her chin. Humph. It won't be that easy for that damn Qi Ling to torture me to death. There's only one way for us to get out of here now, and that is to get the Qi Ling out and torture it until it has nothing left to live for. Then, it will naturally let us out. Xiao Hanio was about to cry. Master, although you're full of confidence and it's a good thing, aren't you overconfident? That Qi Ling must be hiding on the 9th level. But, you are only at the 4th level of the spirit sect. Can you make it to the 9th level? Didn't that teacher Mu say so? Only those at the 4th level of the spirit saint realm can make it to the 2nd level. If you calculate, the 9th level should be the 9th level of the spirit paragon realm. How can you make it to the 9th level? Yun Chujio pursed her lips indifferently, then, she pointed at her own head. HMPH, strength is one thing, but brains are another. Your master's strength is not enough to supplement my intelligence. Besides, I'm not really dead anyway. Let's fight. I don't believe that I can't make it to the 9th level. Master, I think you might as well let the lightning strike you. If the heavenly lightning destroys this trial tower, won't we be able to leave? It's probably going to be tough. This trial tower is obviously not a common object. It might even be a divine artifact or something. The heavenly lightning might not be able to strike it. I'll give it a try. Sure enough, Yun Chujio cursed for a long time, but there was no reaction at all. However, there was movement in the water. A huge sea beast appeared in front of them and swam quickly towards Yun Chujio. Chapter 1151, I'm really too miserable. The sea-swallowing saber-toothed whale was a 21st level sea beast. Its body was extremely tough and it had sharp teeth. It could be said to be the tyrant of the sea. The eyes of the sea-swallowing saber-toothed whale were filled with contempt. Although it was a mirage beast derived from a formation, its intelligence was no different from that of an ordinary demon beast. It really could not understand why such a weak chicken would appear in this trial tower. First level of the spirit sect. Was she deliberately looking for trouble? Just as the sea-swallowing saber-toothed whale was puzzled, it saw the little girl in front of it waving her claws with a smile. Hi, Lord Whale, how are you? The sea-swallowing saber-toothed whale stared at Yun Chujio with its huge eyes. It thought to itself, this human little girl is most likely mentally ill. When people who normally come to the trial see me, they either turn around and run away, or they are prepared to fight with me. What is she trying to do? Lord Whale, I know that I can't beat you, so I won't resist. I'll tell you about my bad luck to relieve your boredom. Yun Chujio's smile immediately turned into a frown. The speed of the change of expression made the sea-swallowing saber-toothed whale dumbfounded. Was this little weakling a color-changing cuttlefish? How did she change her expression so quickly? However, it was not bad to hear from her since she had nothing to do anyway. Lord Whale, you don't know. I originally wanted to take a look at the situation inside the trial tower, but I didn't expect to be sucked in by a huge force. I'm really unlucky for 8 lifetimes. I usually respect the elderly and love the young. I didn't do anything wicked, so why am I so unlucky? I won't be able to get out of here in this lifetime. I guess I'll have to die countless times before I can truly die. Have you ever seen someone who is even more unlucky than me? Yun Chujio said to the point where she was sad. and she even started to cry. The swallowing saber-toothed whale was stunned when it heard that. After it heard that, it couldn't help but open its big mouth and laugh at Yun Chujia's misfortune. This little weakling was really too pitiful. It was so funny that this whale would die. A fierce look flashed across Yun Chujia's eyes. She waved her hands repeatedly, and several small purple lightning bolts and small purple needles swam into the swallowing saber-toothed whale's big mouth swiftly. When the swallowing saber-toothed whale discovered it, it was already too late. Its mouth was too big. When it closed its mouth, a lot of small purple lightning bolts and small purple needles had already entered. The swallowing saber-toothed whale was instantly furious. This little weakling is really too sinister. She actually deliberately made me laugh and then tried to sneak attack me. However, you are too naive. With your weak spiritual power attack, it is impossible for it to have any effect on me. I will bite you to death right now. I will let you die countless times. The swallowing saber-toothed whale pounced towards Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio smiled evilly and a large basin appeared in her hand. The black ink in it instantly dyed the seawater black. The swallowing saber-toothed whale could not see Yun Chujio's figure at all. This little weakling was really detestable. Extremely detestable. There was simply too much bad water. However, no matter how many bad ideas you had, you were so weak that you could only accept death. At this moment, the swallowing saber-toothed whale heard a clear voice shouting, "Explode! All of you explode! Blow up this stupid loach!" Just when the swallowing saber-toothed whale was wondering what Yun Chujio meant, it felt a sharp pain in its stomach. Although it looked very strong, its stomach was filled with internal organs. How could it withstand such a spiritual attack? It immediately rolled around in pain. Yun Chujio was not far away. She curled the corner of her mouth and waved her hands continuously. Several purple lightning bolts and purple needles attacked the back of the swallowing saber-toothed whale and its eyes. Chapter 1152, No Blind Spots. The swallowing saber-toothed whale was out of luck. It had never met such a depraved person. Moreover, why was this little weakling's spiritual power attack so abnormal? She could even control the time of the explosion. Was she really only at the first level of the spirit sect? The swallowing saber-toothed whale kept rolling in the sea water. Before the pain in its stomach eased up, its eyes and rear area were attacked again. The sea water was soon dyed red with fresh blood. Yun Chujio would not let go of such a great opportunity. She waved her hands non-stop and kept ordering the purple needles to self-destruct. As for the purple lightning, she did not even need to command it to attack the swallowing saber-toothed whale. The swallowing saber-toothed whale finally could not hold on anymore. It let out a miserable cry and floated on the sea surface with its belly turned over. Then, it disappeared and the sea water returned to its original color. Yun Chujio was wondering if she should pass when a white light flashed before her eyes. When she saw the scene in front of her, Yun Chujio wanted to strangle the weapon spirit of the trial tower to death. Yun Chujio was currently being hung on a cliff by a vine. Below it was a level 22 Vajra earth-splitting wild bear. It opened its bloody mouth wide, drooling as it waited for Yun Chujio to fall. On the cliff, a level 22 single-horned bull was gnawing on the vine. Judging from the speed of its gnawing, the vine that was hanging on Yun Chujio would break in less than 15 minutes. The worst part was that not far from the cliff, there was another level 22 poison-striped double-tailed python that was slithering towards Yun Chujio. As the saying went, it was bad enough to be attacked from both sides. Damn it, she was attacked from all angles. Yun Chujio recalled a painting she had seen in her previous life. There was a person hanging from a tree branch. The tree was about to break. There was a snake on the tree, a lion under the tree, and 2 crocodiles in the river. Damn it. Her situation was even worse than that person's. Yun Chujia's brain was working quickly. She had to make a decision quickly, or there would be no room for escape. If this place was not restricted to flying, she could easily escape. However, it was precisely restricted to flying. What should she do now? Yun Chujio estimated the distance from this place to the ground. If she jumped down, she would probably be smashed into pieces. However, if she climbed up, not only would she have to deal with a single-horned bull, but she would also have to deal with the poison-striped double-tailed python. There was no way for her to survive. The poison-striped twin-tailed python was getting closer and closer to Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio could even smell the stench of the poison-striped twin-tailed python. It was not that Yun Chujio had never thought of using her spiritual power to attack, but it was impossible for her to succeed in a short period of time. It was simply a waste of time. Do I really have to die first? No, even if it's not true death, I don't want to experience the taste of death. There must be a way. Calm down, calm down. Compared to climbing up, jumping down is more advantageous. But how can I guarantee that I won't fall to my death and not be bitten to death by that earth-shattering King Kong savage bear? Yun Chujia's eyes suddenly lit up. From her storage ring, she threw down the corpse of the demon beast. The earth-shattering King Kong savage bear was stunned at first, then it thought about it. After all, the little weakling on top wouldn't be able to escape from its palm. It would be good to eat some first, so it lowered its head and started to eat the corpses of the demon beasts. Seeing this, Yun Chujio unhesitatingly released the vines and climbed down the cliff at a high speed. The poison-striped double-tailed python was stunned. How could this weak human chicken be better at climbing than the pythons? The cliff was very steep. How did she climb down so quickly? Chapter 1153 Diamond Earth Splitting Wild Bear. Master, I'm still useful at critical moments, right? The dye and the ink were provided by the baby as a friendship. Don't bring up old grudges in the future. It'll hurt your feelings, Mao Maochio said smugly. Yun Chujio pursed her lips and ignored Mao Maochio. It turned out that Yun Chujio had suddenly thought of the sticky thread of Mao Maochio, so she climbed down by relying on the sticky thread. It was not that Yun Chujio had not thought of climbing along the cliff wall, but she considered that she could not use her spiritual power to attack while climbing. If she was caught by the poison-striped twin-tailed python, she could only wait for death. Therefore, she had to land on the ground. When the earth-shattering King Kong wild bear heard the noise, it was also stunned when it saw Yun Chujio quickly climbing down. This little weakling had some skills, but if you climb down, you can only let me kill you. The earth-shattering bear no longer ate the demon beast corpses. Instead, it stared at the bottom of the cliff like a tiger watching its prey. It was prepared to rush up and eat Yun Chujio the moment Yun Chujio landed. A trace of craftiness flashed across Yun Chujio's eyes. Little fellow, although my spiritual power level is far inferior to yours, I have brains. You stupid bear, don't. Watch how I will deal with you. Just as Yun Chujio was about to reach the attack range of the earth-shattering King Kong wild bear, she suddenly shook her hand and a large bag of chili powder was thrown towards the face of the earth-shattering King Kong wild bear. Although the earth-shattering King Kong wild bear was guarding against Yun Chujio's spiritual power attack, it never dreamed that someone would use the chili powder as an attack weapon. Moreover, it was looking up at Yun Chujio, therefore, most of the chili powder was sprinkled on its face, and its eyes immediately became so hot that it could not open them. Seeing that the earth-shattering King Kong wild bear had been hit, Yun Chujio suddenly jumped up and landed on the ground. Then, she directed several bolts of lightning towards the eyes of the earth-shattering King Kong wild bear, mixed with several small purple needles. The earth-shattering King Kong wild bear waved its huge claws to block Yun Chujio's lightning. The purple lightning could not cause much damage at all. It was just a slight pain. However, the purple needles were too small and went through the gaps between the claws of the earth-shattering King Kong wild bear. Yun Chujio was delighted and quickly ordered the purple needles to self-destruct. The earth-shattering King Kong wild bear was waving its huge paw when its eyes suddenly felt a sharp pain. The chili and the purple needles self-destructed. The left eye of the earth-shattering King Kong wild bear immediately began to bleed non-stop. The earth-shattering bear was completely enraged this time. It did not care about its injured left eye and used its huge paw to hit the ground. Immediately, a huge crack appeared on the ground. Fortunately, Yun Chujio's reaction was fast enough, that was why she did not fall into the crack. The earth-shattering bear roared angrily and kept hitting the ground. Soon, several cracks appeared on the ground. Yun Chujio gritted her teeth. It was better to run. She first found a place to catch her breath. She would deal with this stupid bear after she thought of a good idea. Yun Chujio thought of this and ran all the way. Although the level of the earth-shattering King Kong wild bear's spiritual power was much higher than Yun Chujio's, its left eye was extremely painful. It was anxious to find herbs to relieve the pain, so it gave up after chasing for a while. The little weakling could not run out of its palm no matter how much it ran. It would treat its injuries first and then deal with her. Yun Chujio saw that the diamond earth-splitting wild bear was no longer chasing her, so she sat down on the ground and panted heavily. This level 22 demon beast was equivalent to the 4th to 6th level of the Holy Spirit realm. The gap between her and them was really too big. It was really difficult to pass through the 2nd level. Chapter 1150. For the sorrow of a river flowing upstream. Yun Chujio's previous confidence was almost gone. The 2nd level was already so difficult to pass, and there were 7 more levels behind. Each level was more difficult than the last. How was it possible for her to pass? There was no lightning in the trial tower. If I refined Guai Chao and the others' lightning spiritual power, there would be no way for me to continue cultivating. At that time, she would only be able to wait here for death. The more Yun Chujio thought about it, the more she felt that there was no way to survive. She couldn't help but feel a little discouraged. However, Yun Chujio had one of her greatest strengths. She was very strong in resisting attacks. After being depressed for a short while, she was revived with full health. No matter what, she had to pass one test after another. This 2nd test might only be able to kill these 3 demonic beasts. She would first kill the bear, then think of a way to kill the other 2 demonic beasts. However, although the earth-shattering King Kong wild bear had injured one of its eyes, its spiritual power was still much stronger than hers. She had to outsmart it and not act rashly. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and immediately had an idea. After making some arrangements, she began to return along the same route. She did not walk far before she met the earth-shattering King Kong wild bear. Its eyes were covered with crushed herbs. When it saw Yun Chujio, it immediately pounced on her with a furious roar. "You stinky bear, you still want to eat me with your clumsy appearance? Keep dreaming. With your stupid appearance, it's impossible for you to catch up with me, you idiot. No wonder you described me as stupid, like a stupid bear. It turns out that you're really stupid." Yun Chujio taunted as she fled. The earth-shattering guardian bear roared angrily and chased after her relentlessly. The earth-shattering guardian bear's speed was much faster than Yun Chujio's. It was about to catch up to Yun Chujio. The earth-shattering guardian bear's eyes revealed a smug look. "You little weakling, I must kill you." At this moment, the earth-shattering guardian bear stumbled and fell to the ground. It could not help but be stunned. It wanted to get up and continue chasing after Yun Chujio, but it realized that its limbs were stuck to something. It was very difficult to move. Before it could react, several purple needles shot towards its eyes, ears, and nostrils. The earth-shattering bear wanted to pounce with its claws, but its claws were not very flexible after being stuck. It could only lie on the ground to avoid the purple needles. Before it got up, it heard a strange roar. The earth-shattering bear could not help but be distracted. Although it was only for a short moment, it was enough for the purple needles that Yun Chujio shot into its ears. Explode! The earth-shattering bear's huge head was instantly blown into a bloody mess, and it died instantly. Then, the earth-shattering bear's huge body disappeared, as if nothing had happened before. Yun Chujio sat on the ground, panting heavily. Emma, it's a good thing that this stinky bear is stupid enough. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to kill it. Lai Yan's three-tailed fox king eagerly moved to Yun Chujio's side. Master, you always say that I'm a freeloader. This time, I've done a meritorious deed, right? Yun Chujio nodded. Xiao Hong, although you've done a meritorious deed this time, you're still too weak. When will you be able to grow another tail? Master, this tail isn't something that I can grow whenever I want. I need time to grow it. Well, Master, it'll just enter the spirit beast pouch to accompany boss Xiao He. Lai Yan's three-tailed fox king heard the two words, Xiao Hong, although it had already accepted its fate, every time it heard this name, it would be filled with sorrow. Chapter 1155 Smelly Don't Have a Snake's Face. Yun Chujio put Lai Yan's three-tailed fox king into her spiritual beast bag and ate something. Then, she began to think about her next step. After killing the diamond earth-splitting wild bear, she did not go to the third level. This meant that she had to kill the other two demonic beasts as well. Yun Chujio thought about it and felt that she should kill the poison-striped twin-tailed python first. Otherwise, when she was dealing with the single-horned wild bull, the poison-striped twin-tailed python would sneak attack her. However, the python was a little tricky on the cliff. She had to lure it down and then think of a way to lure it into the forest. She was on the tree and it was under the tree. That way, she would have a certain geographical advantage. Yes. That was the plan. Yun Chujio had rested enough and returned to the bottom of the cliff. The python was resting in a cave on the cliff. When it smelled Yun Chujio's scent, it poked its huge triangular head out from the cave. Hey, you coward! Do you dare to fight me for 300 rounds? Yun Chujio shouted with her arms akimbo. The poison-striped twin-tailed python spat out its tongue and ignored Yun Chujio. It was puzzled in its heart. Was that stupid bear killed by the little girl? It looks like an earthworm. With your looks, how can you be called a demon beast? I think you are worse than a real beast. You are such an ugly monster. I can't even eat for half a month just by looking at you. You are so ugly that you have reached a whole new level. No wonder you have been staying on the cliff. You are really self-aware. If you were to go down to the ground, all the flowers, plants, and trees would probably die from your ugliness. You even made a pattern on your body when you were free. Bah! Ugly people are always causing trouble. You are so stinky that you don't even want a snake's face. How could the poison-striped double-tailed python withstand Yun Chujio's provocation? It climbed down the cliff with its tongue sticking out. From afar, one could smell the fishy smell. Seeing the poison-striped double-tailed python climb down, Yun Chujio ran into the forest. The poison-striped double-tailed python followed closely behind. Yun Chujio slipped into the forest and climbed to the top of a tree. Yun Chujio thought that the poison-striped twin-tailed python would also climb up the tree. Then, she would be able to use her spiritual power to attack the eyes of the poison-striped twin-tailed python. However, she did not expect that the huge body of the poison-striped twin-tailed python would swing and the thick tree would actually be split into two. Yun Chujio was so scared that she quickly used the sticky silk to wrap around another tree. Then, she climbed up the tree. The eyes of the poison-striped twin-tailed python revealed a look of contempt. With another swing of its tail, the tree also broke. It was as if the tree was not a big tree but a small grass. Yun Chujio secretly cursed in her heart. She originally thought that she was thinking of a clever idea, but now it seemed that she was being smart. This small forest was not big, and it would not be long before the thick and strong trees here were knocked down. At that time, she would have no way to escape. What should she do? Xiao Hanio's curse had already been used up. Moreover, this poison-striped twin-tailed python did not have legs, so there was no such thing as wrestling. The ball of wool had just used up more than half of its sticky thread to deal with the diamond-splitting earth savage bear. She could not use it again unless it was an emergency. Although Yun Chuzhou tried her best to think of a way, when the small forest was completely destroyed, she still could not think of any good ideas, so she could only try her best to escape. Although the poison-striped twin-tailed python had no legs, its crawling speed on the ground was faster than Yun Chuzhou's running speed. Soon, it caught up with Yun Chuzhou and spat out a large mouthful of venom at Yun Chuzhou with its bright red tongue. Chapter 1156, The Transformation of a Bullfighter. After the poison-striped twin-tailed python finished spraying its venom, it proudly waited for Yun Chuzhou to die. Its venom was extremely poisonous. As long as it stuck to its body, it would die on the spot. This little girl was dead for sure. However, what surprised the poison-striped twin-tailed python was that the little girl was running and cursing in disgust. Fuck. You stinky earthworm, you actually spit at people for no reason. You're really shameless. Not dead. How was that possible? The python regained its senses and quickly caught up with Yun Chuzhou again. It spat out another mouthful of venom and then, yes, the little girl ran even faster. Could it be that its venom was useless against her? HMH, since the venom can't kill you, it'll just swallow you. When the python caught up with Yun Chuzhou again, it no longer spat out venom. Instead, it opened its bloody mouth and bit at Yun Chuzhou. It was too late for Yun Chuzhou to dodge. Her entire body was sucked into the mouth of the python. Just as the python was about to close its mouth and swallow Yun Chuzhou into its stomach, she realized that her mouth was blocked by something and she couldn't close it at all. It turned out that during the emergency, Yun Chuzhou had used a rolling pin to block the upper and lower jaws of the python. Moreover, the rolling pin could grow longer and longer, so the upper and lower jaws of the python were firmly blocked. A fierce look flashed across Yun Chuzhou's eyes. Damn it, you still want to eat me? I'll make you bloom from the inside right now. Yun Chuzhou kept waving her hands, and the small purple needles continuously entered the body of the poison-striped twin-tailed python. Yun Chuzhou felt that it was about time, so she flew out. Explode! In an instant, hundreds of small purple needles exploded in the body of the poison-striped twin-tailed python. The poison-striped twin-tailed python was instantly blasted into a bloody mess. It rolled on the ground for a while and died. Yun Chuzhou rested for a while more before she climbed up the cliff. She was prepared to deal with the single-horned violent bull. This fellow really didn't have any good ideas in his mind. Moreover, he didn't know what was going on above the cliff. She could only take one step at a time. Yun Chuzhou used the sticky thread to finally climb to the top of the cliff. There was actually an open grassland on top. The single-horned violent bull was leisurely eating grass. However, when it saw Yun Chuzhou, it immediately moaned and rushed towards Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou was so scared that she quickly climbed down the cliff again. Damn, this bull was too big. It was almost as big as the diamond-splitting wild bear. It was probably not that easy to deal with. She had to outsmart it. When the single-horned bull saw Yun Chuzhou climb down the cliff, it moaned a few times and went back to eating grass. Yun Chuzhou thought for a long time but couldn't think of any good ideas. Suddenly, an idea came to her and she remembered the bullfight that she had seen in her previous life. Although this single-horned bull was a demon beast, it might also be affected. If she tried, she could just climb down again. Thinking of this, Yun Chuzhou rummaged through her storage ring and finally found a red cloth. Then, she quietly climbed to the top of the cliff. Old bull, what do you think this is? Yun Chuzhou mimicked the actions of a bullfighter and used the red cloth to provoke the single-horned violent bull. Sure enough, the single-horned violent bull charged at the red cloth. Yun Chuzhou dodged while cursing in her heart. It seemed that although this demonic beast had intelligence, it was still a beast in nature and still had the habits of a beast. Although the single-horned violent bull started attacking the red cloth as Yun Chuzhou wished, the single-horned violent bull was too big. Yun Chuzhou was once again forced to climb down the cliff after a few teasing moves. Xue Wuji immediately scolded Teacher Mao, "You brainless idiot. My little sister Jiu said that if you want to enter the trial tower, just give her the jade token. If you give her the jade token, will she sneak in? If anything happens to my little sister Jiu, I'll kill you." Teacher Mu was dumbfounded by the scolding. Little ninth sister. Who was little ninth sister? Yun Chuzhou. How did Yun Chuzhou become young Master Wuji's sister? Dean Huanfu had already activated the isolation array, so the onlookers from afar couldn't see what was happening. He quickly helped Teacher Mu out of the situation. Young Master Wuji, Teacher Mu stopped Yun Chuzhou from entering the trial tower for her own good. This is all my fault. I shouldn't have told Yun Chuzhou about the trial tower at that time. Although Xue Wuji wished he could scold Dean Huangfu, he still had the respect he should have. He could only say in a muffled voice, "HMPH. He just looks down on my little sister Jiu. He even said that it's for her own good." Chapter 1158, The main body wants to enter the trial tower. Teacher Mao lowered his head guiltily. Indeed, he had stopped Yun Chuzhou from entering the trial tower because he did not think highly of her. He felt that such a good-for-nothing was not qualified to enter the trial tower, so he deliberately made things difficult for her. Seeing Teacher Mao's cowardly manner, Xue Wuji could not help but get angry. Just as he was about to retort him, Di Baiming said, "Little Jiu may be temperamental, but she's not someone who doesn't know her limits. I'm afraid she didn't sneak in by herself." When Teacher Mao heard Di Baiming say the word little Jiu, he was even more shocked than when Xue Wuji said little Jiu's sister. He felt that he must have a fever today. Otherwise, how could everything he saw and heard be so abnormal? "Teacher Mao, tell Your Excellency and young Master Wuji about the situation at that time." Dean Huangfu pinched Teacher Mao fiercely. How could he still be in a daze at such a time? Although the Tian Yuan Academy had a special status, if Your Excellency and young Master Wuji were to vent their anger on you, you, a mere teacher, would be doomed. Only then did Teacher Mao come back to his senses and recounted the situation at that time. Xue Wuji immediately widened his eyes and said, "You just saw my little sister Jiu's back and you're sure that she sneaked in? You just blamed my little sister Jiu for it. Maybe someone dragged my little sister Jiu in." "Young Master Wuji, those students went in first. After they went in, they would be transported to the trial scene. How could they drag Yun Chuzhou in?" Xue Wuji glared at Teacher Mu. "No matter what, little sister Jiu won't sneak in. You must think of a way to clear things up. Otherwise, I won't forgive you." Teacher Mu was on the verge of tears. "Young Master Wuji, what do you want me to say? Could it be that the trial tower sucked Yun Chuzhou in?" Hearing Teacher Mu's words, Di Baiming's heart skipped a beat. Little Jiu's constitution was special. Perhaps she really was brought in by the trial tower's Qi Ling. "Teacher Mao, give me a jade token. I want to enter the Tower of Trials." Di Baiming said to Teacher Mao. Teacher Mao looked at Dean Huangfu. Dean Huangfu sighed and said, "Your Excellency, you also know that after a person enters the Tower of Trials, they are transported to a scene alone. Even if you enter, you will not be able to find Yun Chuzhou. If you pass the 9th level, you will find the weapon spirit of the Tower of Trials. At that time, I can force it to release little Jiu. This is the only way to save little Jiu, Di Biming said in a deep voice. Qi Ling's voice was filled with fear. Dean Huangfu was stunned. He did not expect Di Biming to be able to do this for Yun Chujiu. He advised, Your Excellency, although your spiritual power is considered outstanding in the Tianyuan continent, it is extremely difficult to pass the 9th level. Furthermore, what about the matters of the Temple of Immortals? The trial tower forbids the use of talismans. If there is an urgent matter, there is no way for us to inform you. When I was in the academy, I managed to clear the 6th level. At that time, my spiritual power was much lower than it is now. I believe that I can clear the 9th level this time. There is no need to say more. Give me the jade token. Di Biming's eyes revealed a determined look. Little Jiu, wait for me. I will definitely be able to save you. Teacher Mao was just about to pass the jade token to Di Biming when he saw the 3rd level of the trial tower light up. Teacher Mao exclaimed, Yun Chujiu actually managed to break through to the 3rd level. How is this possible? She is only at the 1st level of the spirit sect. Chapter 1159 might be a fortuitous encounter. Dean Huangfu and the others also looked towards the trial tower. Indeed, the 3rd level of the trial tower lit up. Dean Huangfu could not help but exclaim, only those at the 6th level of the Spirit Saint realm can pass through the 2nd level of the trial tower. How did Yun Chujiu do it? This is too unbelievable. Di Biming originally wanted to insist on entering the trial tower, but when he saw this, he suddenly had a thought. Little Nine had the great void mystic realm to eat and drink without any worries. Moreover, the trial tower was not really dead. This might be Little Nine's fortuitous encounter. He should wait for a while before deciding whether to enter the Tower of Trials. Dean Huangfu, I've changed my mind. I'll cultivate in front of this tower. I'll wait for a while before deciding whether to enter the tower. Dean Huangfu naturally wanted this. If Di Biming didn't come out for a while after entering, the hall master's wife would have to run over to him and ask for him. Xue Wuji rolled his eyes. Since Di Biming is waiting here, then I will wait here too. Anyway, it's the same wherever I cultivate. It's just that those idiots are getting annoyed just by looking at me. Tell them to get lost and don't disturb me. The corner of Dean Huangfu's eyes twitched. He did not need to give any orders. They saw the kick that you gave Yin Sulian. If they came, they probably would not dare to come close. When Dean Huangfu thought of this, he removed the isolation array. The people watching from afar saw that His Excellency and young Master Wuji were sitting cross-legged in the empty space in front of the trial tower. They were even more puzzled. What's going on? Why did His Excellency and young Master Wuji come to the trial tower to meditate? Did they have a sudden epiphany? How is that possible? If they had an epiphany, it's impossible for them to have an epiphany together. Could it be that they are waiting for Yun Chujiu to come out of the trial tower? Ha ha ha. Your joke is not funny at all. Let's not talk about Your Excellency and young Master Wuji's identity. Why would they wait for a puny Yun Chujiu here? Most importantly, do you think Yun Chujiu can still come out? You're right. I really can't figure it out. At this moment, a student exclaimed, Look! The 3rd level of the trial tower lit up. Could it be that Yun Chujiu made it to the 3rd level? Everyone's attention was on Di Biming and Xue Wuji just now. Only then did they realize that the 3rd level of the trial tower actually lit up. How was this possible? Wasn't Yun Chujiu only at the 1st level of the spirit sect? She was lucky enough to get to the 2nd level, but how did she manage to get to the 3rd level? Just when everyone was surprised that Yun Chujiu managed to get to the 3rd level, the 4th level actually lit up. Everyone immediately exploded. Heavens! This was impossible. There must be a problem with the trial tower. The 3rd level only lit up for an hour at most. How could Yun Chuzhou clear the third level in such a short time? Teacher Mao jumped up in shock. Impossible. How is this possible? She actually used only an hour to clear the third level of the trial tower. How is this possible? Shui Wuji glared fiercely at Teacher Mao and said in a low voice, "Little sister Jiu is much more powerful than you think. You are a snob." Teacher Mu was immediately dispirited and did not say a word. Dean Huangfu looked at the trial tower, but his heart was shocked. This Yun Chuzhou was really unexpected. She actually managed to break through to the fourth level of the spirit sect's fourth level, and it only took her an hour to break through to the third level. How did she do it? Perhaps, Yun Chuzhou could break through to the ninth level. Chapter 1160, The Third Level of the Tower of Trials. Dean Huangfu was shocked by his own thoughts. He must have gone mad. Although Yun Chuzhou had broken through to the fourth level, it might just be a fluke. A fourth-level spirit sect cultivator had broken through to the ninth level of the Tower of Trials. That was simply impossible. It was better to place their hopes on the Honorable One. Then, why did Yun Chuzhou only use an hour to pass through the third level of the Tower of Trials? An hour ago, the Trial Tower, third level. When Yun Chuzhou opened her eyes, she realized that she had been transported to a dense forest. Yun Chuzhou looked around, but she did not find any traces of demonic beasts. This was strange. Could the demonic beasts be outside the dense forest? Just as Yun Chuzhou was at a loss, the vines on the ground and on the trees suddenly burst out. The speed was so fast that Yun Chuzhou did not have time to react. She was immediately bound tightly. Yun Chuzhou was shocked. Just as she was about to release Lai Yen and burn down the vines, she was horrified to find that her spiritual power was actually restricted. Moreover, she could not use her spiritual sense and spiritual beast bag at all. The vines danced crazily and let out sharp laughter. The vines on Yun Chuzhou's body became tighter and tighter. Moreover, the thorns on the vines began to pierce into Yun Chuzhou's exposed hands. Demon plants. There were vines everywhere in this dense forest. It was simply impossible to guard against them. However, why did this scene look a little familiar? Oh right, this was the scene when she was absorbing the spirit of the spirit vines. It was just that the spirit-absorbing vines were not as high level as these demon plants. Damn it. At that time, when she had absorbed all the poison from the vines had become obedient. She did not know if this trick would work on these demon plants. Forget it, let's try again. Since she was thirsty, she would just drink it like water. Anyway, the poison would not kill her. Yun Chuzhou thought of this and lowered her head to bite down on a vine. Then, she began to suck the juice inside. The Guai Chao in her dantian was overjoyed. This thing was much more advanced than sucking the juice of the spirit vine. The vine let out a contemptuous laugh. This human girl was really stupid. Its juice was extremely poisonous. She was simply courting death. As long as you took a sip, you would be dead. Then, 1 sip, 2 sips, 10 sips. The vine found that the little girl was completely fine. However, the venom in her body was constantly leaking out. The branch of the vine that was binding the little girl had already begun to wither. No. How could this be? This was impossible. Why wasn't she poisoned to death? Yun Chuzhou did not care what the vine was thinking. She continued to suck the venom from the vine. Damn it, do you think I'm a sick cat if I don't show my strength? You want to kill me? I'll suck you into a dried vine first. The vine was miserable. After Yun Chuzhou finished sucking the vine that was binding her, she found the thickest trunk and started to suck the poison from it. The vine was not willing to sit still and wait for death. It kept beating Yun Chuzhou with the vine. Yun Chuzhou was determined. No matter how you beat her, I will not let go. I will suck you into a dried vine today. Finally, the main trunk of the vine began to wither. Yun Chujio curled her lips and let the three-tailed fox king Lai Yen burn the main trunk of the vine. Even in her dreams, the vine did not expect to die so aggrieved one day. As the main trunk of the vine burned to ashes, a white light flashed in front of Yun Chujio's eyes. When she saw the scene in front of her, she regretted sucking the poison of the vine slowly. Chapter 1161, Come and Eat Me Fuck. She was absolutely certain that this damn Trial Tower's Qi Ling wanted to kill her. If she was teleported to this place, she might as well just kill her. At this moment, Yun Chujio was pitifully lying in a pit that was about 20 feet deep. There were 3 level 25 bloodthirsty wolves surrounding her, eyeing Yun Chujio greedily in the pit. The 3 bloodthirsty wolves let out horrifying howls. Their eyes were full of green light, and their saliva dripped down. No matter how Yun Chujio thought about it, she felt that she had no way to survive. The bloodthirsty wolves could use wind blades to attack. Apparently, they were afraid that their food would be cut into pieces, so they didn't use wind blades, otherwise, Yun Chujio would have died long ago. Level 25 bloodthirsty wolves were equivalent to human cultivators from the first to second layer of the Supreme Being realm. The gap between Yun Chujio and them was almost like a gully. Not to mention the 3 bloodthirsty wolves, she couldn't even deal with one of them. However, Yun Chujio quickly adjusted her state of mind. Damn it, was the Tian Dao strong? Was the heavenly lightning strong? Wasn't I still alive and well? The 3 little wolves wanted to take her life. No way. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and started to think of a countermeasure. This pit was not deep. Logically speaking, as long as one bloodthirsty wolf jumped in, it would be easy to eat her. Why did the 3 bloodthirsty wolves only surround the pit and not eat her? Yun Chujio's heart moved. It was probably because the 3 bloodthirsty wolves were wary of each other. If one of them jumped down, the other 2 would most likely hit it while it was down and attack it with wind blades. Then, it would definitely die. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes, and then her heart was filled with joy. She had an idea. Yun Chujio smiled and waved her claws at the 3 bloodthirsty wolves. Hey, 3 wolves, I'm really lucky to be able to meet you. The 3 bloodthirsty wolves were dumbfounded. Was this little girl crazy? Didn't she know that she would be eaten by them? And she even greeted them with a smile. 3 wolves, you must be very strange. Why am I so happy? Because I feel that it is my honor to die in the hands of such noble demon beasts. Come on. Which wolf lord jumped in and ate me? Yun Chujio closed her eyes, she smiled and waited for her death. The 3 bloodthirsty wolves looked at each other warily. Although they were drooling over the prey in the pit, they didn't move to prevent becoming the other 2 prey. Yun Chujio opened her eyes in confusion. My lords, why aren't you eating me? My skin is tender and my meat is very delicious. I guarantee that I won't bite. Come and eat me. The 3 bloodthirsty wolves could not help but take half a step back. This guy must be sick. Who would take the initiative to ask to be eaten? I know. Do you think it's inconvenient to eat me in the pit? How about this? I'll climb up so that you can easily eat me. The 3 bloodthirsty wolves were delighted. It would be easy if this human girl climbed up. They did not have to be wary of each other. After Yun Chujio finished speaking, she made a move to climb up. After climbing a few times, she returned to the bottom of the pit, she covered her mouth. 3 wolves, I suddenly thought of a very big problem. If I climb up now, how are the 3 of you going to share it? You'd better discuss how to share it with me first. For example, who is the biggest can eat more. Chapter 1162 Watching a wolf fight in a pit. When the three bloodthirsty wolves heard Yun Chujia's words, one of the larger ones began to howl proudly. Although Yun Chujio didn't understand what it was howling about, it probably meant that it should eat more. The other two bloodthirsty wolves were immediately unhappy and howled angrily. The larger one also didn't want to be outdone and howled again. A crafty look flashed across Yun Chujia's eyes. She said to herself, as the saying goes, more wolves have less meat. If this wolf loses one, wouldn't it have more meat in its mouth? Moreover, there could be another wolf's corpse. It's worth it just to think about it. The two smaller bloodthirsty wolves heard Yun Chujia's words and looked at each other. Suddenly, they attacked the larger one from the left and right. Although Yun Chujio could not see, she could hear the sounds of fighting from above. She did not stay idle and quickly brought Xiao He out so that it could quickly dig a hole. Xiao He was not good at other things, but it was good at digging holes. Although it was small, it could dig a hole very quickly. An hour later, the two smaller wolves' proud roars came from above the pit. It was obvious that the larger wolf had been killed. The two bloodthirsty wolves had no time to care about Yun Chujio who was in the pit. They wolfed down the corpse of the bloodthirsty wolf. Although it was a mirage beast derived from the array, in the eyes of these mirage beasts, the demon beast's corpse would not disappear. After the two bloodthirsty wolves finished eating, they burped and came to the side of the pit. Yun Chujio knew that the two bloodthirsty wolves were full now and would not eat her for a while. What she needed to do now was to stall for time and buy time for Xiao He. Xiao He was very smart. There was only a small hole outside. Yun Chujio used her body to cover it, but the hole inside was getting wider and wider. The two wolves are really too brave. Since you are not hungry now, I will tell you some things about the outside to relieve your boredom. Yun Chujio sat in the hole and said with a flattering look. The two bloodthirsty wolves had just had a good meal, so they were not in a hurry to eat Yun Chujio. They lay lazily by the pit and looked at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio began to tell the story with a lively voice and a lively voice. The two bloodthirsty wolves had never heard such an interesting story before, so they listened to it with great interest. Yun Chujio was good at lying. Besides drinking a few mouthfuls of water, she did not stop at all. She kept telling the story while thinking to herself, it would be best if these two bloodthirsty wolves started fighting and I could reap the benefits. Lord Wolves, I don't know if you've heard of the saying, one mountain cannot accommodate two wolves. Chapter 1163 Killing Wolves in the Pit. Yun Chujio listened to the sounds of fighting above and the corners of her mouth curled up. Fight with me. She only needed to use her brain to let them kill each other. It would be better if both of them died in the end. Then, she would not have to hide in the hole that Mickey had dug. Another hour passed. The sounds of fighting above became softer and softer. A bloodthirsty wolf that was covered in wounds appeared above the pit. Seeing this, Yun Chujio hurriedly hid in the hole behind. What a joke! As long as this bloodthirsty wolf shot down a wind blade, she would definitely die. Seeing Yun Chujio hiding in the hole, the bloodthirsty wolf howled angrily. Yun Chujio hid at the edge of the hole. She shouted loudly, "You stupid wolf! You're so stupid that you've reached a new height. This is called a plot to sow discord. You three idiots have all fallen into my trap. Ha ha ha, if you have the ability, come down and eat me. You big idiot." When the bloodthirsty wolf above the deep pit heard Yun Chujio's words, it was so angry that it almost went crazy. It crazily shot out wind blades into the hole, but unfortunately, the wind blades attacked in a straight line. Even though the bottom of the pit was cut into a mess, it did not harm Yun Chujio at all. Moreover, Xiao He had already opened air holes elsewhere, so it was not afraid of being suffocated to death. Idiot, not only are you stupid, you're also a coward. If you have the ability, come down and fight me for 300 rounds. You wouldn't be afraid of a first-level spirit sect human like me, right? Yun Chujio continued to provoke. Now, this bloodthirsty wolf had suffered quite a serious injury. Moreover, she had the initiative in this hole, so she had to provoke it down. The bloodthirsty wolf was so angry that it lost its mind. It was so angry that it actually jumped down. The soil at the bottom of the pit had already been cut loose by the wind blades, so it was not afraid of falling down. Before the bloodthirsty wolf landed on the ground, Yun Chujio's purple needle shot towards its eyes. The bloodthirsty wolf could only wave its claws to block the attack of the purple needle. As soon as the bloodthirsty wolf landed on the ground, it threw a few wind blades at the cave where Yun Chujio was hiding. Unexpectedly, the cave that Xiao He dug had an arc. Yun Chujio retreated into the cave and avoided the wind blades that attacked in a straight line. When the wolf was attacking Yun Chujio with the wind blades crazily, it did not expect that two more holes appeared on the wall of the cave. Two balls of flames were thrown at it. The two balls of flames, one red and one purple, were sent by Xiao He and Lai Yan, the three-tailed fox king. It turned out that Xiao He had dug two separate paths, which allowed Xiao He and Lai Yan to attack the wolf from a high place. There was a limited area at the bottom of the pit, so the bloodthirsty wolf had nowhere to hide. Its fur was immediately burned by the fireballs, especially Xiao Henio's purple fireballs, which were even more destructive. They burned the bloodthirsty wolf until it cried out in pain. It could only use its claws to dig Yun Chujio's cave with all its might, wanting to go in and eat Yun Chujio. The bloodthirsty wolf was in a hurry to avoid the fireballs behind, so just as it dug the hole a little bigger, the bloodthirsty wolf's huge head drilled into the cave. Yun Chujio was waiting inside the hole. Just as the bloodthirsty wolf's big head poked in, several small purple needles shot towards its eyes. The bloodthirsty wolf wanted to retreat, but its big head was already stuck, and it was hit by the small purple needles. Yun Chujio shouted, "Explode!" Immediately, the bloodthirsty wolf's eyes became a bloody mess, and almost at the same time, the body of the bloodthirsty wolf was also burned. The bloodthirsty wolf was in so much pain that it quickly pulled its head back and began to rub the cave wall to extinguish the flames on its body. However, how could a blind and heavily injured demonic beast be a match for Yun Chujio and Dumb Meng? After 15 minutes, this miserable bloodthirsty wolf died unwillingly. Chapter 1164 did not want to turn into a bird skeleton at this moment. The outside of the trial tower was already in an uproar. When Yun Chujio reached the 4th level, many people began to gather outside the trial tower to watch. They had a faint hope that Yun Chujio would continue to advance, although they felt that this idea was ridiculous. However, if Yun Chujio, who was at the 1st level of the spirit sect, could reach the 4th level, what was impossible? Of course, there were also many people who came for Di Baiming and Xue Wuji. Although they did not dare to disturb the two meditating, it was still good to be close to them. As time passed, some people began to twitch their lips. I think Yun Chujio can only make it to the 4th level. The demonic beasts on the 4th level are of the 25th level, which is equivalent to the spiritual power of the 1st or 2nd level of the Supreme Being realm. No matter how lucky Yun Chujio is, it's impossible for her to defeat them. Well, you're right. Yun Chujio is just like that. If we could still cultivate in there, we might be able to make it to the 9th level in our lifetime. Yun Chujio has a heavenly thunder spiritual root, so she can't cultivate in there at all, so she can only live and die on the 4th level. In my opinion, she might as well be on the 1st level. No matter what, the environment on the 1st level isn't that bad. The environment on the 4th level must be pretty bad. She's asking for trouble, and she has to suffer even before she dies. Just as everyone was talking, they heard Teacher Mao's voice breaking. 5th level. Yun Chujio has broken through to the 5th level. Everyone looked up and saw that the 5th level of the trial tower had lit up. It was obvious that Yun Chujio had broken through to the 4th level and reached the 5th level. Everyone felt that this was impossible. Not to mention that Yun Chujio was only a 1st-level spirit sect freshman, even a 1st-level spirit paragon might not be able to pass the 5th level. How on earth did Yun Chujio do it? This was simply too unbelievable. Teacher Mao was so excited that he was trembling slightly. Right now, he could not wait for Yun Chujio to pass the 9th level so that Di Baiming and Xue Wuji would not vent their anger on him. Moreover, he had been guarding the trial tower for many years, so he was truly excited from the bottom of his heart. He really hoped that he would be able to see someone pass the 9th level in his lifetime. Di Baiming and Xue Wuji had been meditating all this while. When they heard Teacher Mao's shout, they raised their heads and took a look. Their hearts were filled with joy. Perhaps little Jiao would really be able to pass the 9th level. Dean Huangfu was also extremely excited. This Yun Chujio was really a weirdo. She actually managed to pass the 5th level of the trial tower with the 4th level of the spirit sect. She was truly a rare genius. However, could she continue to break through? Trial tower, 5th level. Yun Chujio sneezed fiercely. Damn, someone must be missing me. Perhaps the gigolo knows that something has happened to me and is waiting for me outside. Master, don't talk about these useless things. It's better to think of a way quickly. Otherwise, you will only be gnawed into white bones by these gold-eating gold ants countless times. Xiao Hanio said unhappily. This guy's heart was really big. At this time, he still had the mood to think of a gigolo. At this time, Yun Chujio was standing on top of a small mound. Below her was a dense swarm of gold-eating gold ants. The ants were quickly climbing up the mound. Yun Chujio and Xiao Hanio were constantly using their spiritual power to attack the gold-eating gold ants. However, the number of gold-eating gold ants was really too many. Even though Yun Chujio and Stupid Meng were trying their best to attack, many still managed to climb up. Master, quickly think of a way. I don't want to turn into a bird skeleton again and again. Xiao Hanio shouted anxiously. Chapter 1165, The Ant Queen. Yun Chujio sighed. Master, I don't want to do that either. But this gold-backed devouring gold ant is different from other demonic beasts. I can't use it no matter how much I can trick it. The ant colony got closer and closer to Yun Chujio and the rest. Its sharp teeth emitted a cold light. It looked very scary. Damn it. If only my fireball could be a little bigger. I can burn these damn ants to death. Lai Yan's three-tailed fox king said while spitting out the fireball. Yun Chujio's eyes suddenly lit up. She recalled the scene where she burned the phantom hell flower in the ancient spiritual medicine valley. Fuck, it'll give you some oil. I can't burn you to death. Yun Chujio took out a few pots of vegetable oil from her storage ring and poured it on the ants below. The ants were immediately unlucky. When the vegetable oil met the fireball, the fire immediately spread. The gold-eating gold ants were burned to the ground. When they ran around, they even burned the rest of the gold-eating gold ants. The ants immediately became chaotic. Yun Chujio stood on the small mound and laughed. You ants still want to fight with me? I'll kill you all in a minute. Although the three Xiao Hanio did not know how they got here in a minute, it did not stop them from being happy. Finally, they did not have to turn into white bones. Unfortunately, they were happy too early. After the ant colony calmed down, one of the queen ants with a fat body began to deploy troops. They began to dig a tunnel quickly, preparing to drill into the small mound from the ground. These gold-eating gold ants had very sharp teeth. They dug very quickly, and it would not take long for them to dig into the small mound. However, if Yun Chujio left the small mound, she would immediately be surrounded by the ants. Yun Chujio's face was once again filled with worry. Master, why don't we rush down? If it really doesn't work, we can use fire to burn a path. Xiao Hanio said. No, these gold-eating ants will huddle together when they are cornered. At that time, they can completely ignore our fireballs. Moreover, without the geographical advantage, we are no match for the ant colony, Yun Chujio said disapprovingly. But, we are also waiting for death here. After a while, those gold-eating ants will crawl out of the soil. Together with the gold-eating ants below, we will be attacked from both sides. Let me think about it. There must be a way. I don't believe that my IQ is not better than these ants. Yun Chujio rubbed her temples and her brain kept working. These days, she was exhausted and could not get any rest. She felt that her brain was almost frozen. If she wanted to clear the level, she would probably have to kill all these gold-eating ants. However, there were so many ants, how could she kill them all? Yun Chujio's gaze fell on the queen ant. To catch a thief, one must first catch the king. If she killed the queen ant, these small fries would probably be easier to deal with. How could she kill it? The queen ant had been hiding in the middle of the ant colony, and her spiritual power could not reach it. She had to lure it to the front. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes, and her eyes fell on the fat body of the queen ant. Yun Chujio took out a bucket of honey from her storage ring, added some flour, and threw 2 small balls in the direction of the queen ant. Perhaps the taste of the honey was too fragrant. The queen ant swayed its fat body to the side of the honey ball and touched the honey ball with its antennae. Then, she let a gold-eating ant try it and saw that there was no bad reaction after it ate it. Then, she swallowed the honey ball in one bite. Yun Chujio was happy when she saw this. As long as you are willing to eat it, I won't poison you to death. Yun Chujio kept throwing the honey balls. Each of the honey balls was not big, and the queen was very protective of her food. She did not let other ants eat it, so all the honey balls went into the queen's stomach. Seeing that the gold-eating ants were about to dig up the earth, the queen suddenly fell to the ground and twitched. She kicked her legs and died. A white light flashed in front of Yun Chujio's eyes. She had actually passed the 5th level. It turned out that as long as the queen ant died, she would pass. Yun Chujio had also passed the 5th level by accident. Chapter 1166, She encountered a fake trial tower outside the trial tower. It was currently late at night. Most of the people had left, and only a few people were still standing outside to watch. Suddenly, Teacher Mao's roar caused everyone to tremble in fear. The 6th level. The 6th level. Yun Chujio. Teacher Mao was so excited that he shouted until his voice cracked. The sound of the silent night spread across almost half of Tianyuan Academy. Everyone looked up and sure enough, the 6th level of the trial tower lit up. Although everyone was very excited, they seemed to be somewhat numb at this moment. After all, Yun Chujio, who was on the 1st level of the spirit sect, was already surprised enough to rush to the 5th level. The 6th level, well, it was actually nothing. Some people even felt that the trial tower that Yun Chujio encountered must be a fake trial tower. Otherwise, why would our spiritual power be so much higher than hers and not even be able to pass the 1st level? Right. The trial tower that she encountered must be a fake trial tower. It must be like that. Yun Chujio was not as relaxed as they were now. She had not been able to rest for the past few days. Regardless of whether it was her physical strength or her brain power, they had already reached their limits. However, the situation before her did not allow her to even have a moment to catch her breath. There was an incomparably scorching sun above Yun Chujio's head, and under her feet was an endless desert. Fortunately, Yun Chujio had the cool beads that the Guai Chao gave her, so she was not roasted into dried meat. However, at this time, the 2 ghost-faced golden-backed centipedes at level 26 were attacking her crazily. not giving her a chance to speak at all. Level 26 was equivalent to the third or fourth level of the spiritual venerable realm of humans, so Yun Chujio was no match for them. Yun Chujia's only advantage was that she was not afraid of the venom they spat out, so she barely managed to hold on for a short while. However, after the two ghost-faced golden-backed centipedes realized that the venom was not easy to use, they began to stab Yun Chujio with their sharp antennae. The antennae of the ghost-faced golden-backed centipedes were harder than fine iron, emitting a faint blue light. Not only were they sharp, but they were also poisonous. Although Yun Chujio was agile, the difference in her spiritual power was too big. One of the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede's antennae accidentally stabbed her left leg, and blood immediately flowed out. Yun Chujio grimaced in pain and thought, "I'm done for. I'm afraid I won't be able to pass this test. Damn it, I'm really unwilling to die in the hands of such an ugly bug. If I had known this would happen, I would have stayed in the vine forest. It would have been better if I had food and drink." However, this fellow was only thinking about this. His hands were not idle, and he even let Xiao Hanio curse him once. He inserted a few purple needles into the left eye of one of the golden-backed centipedes. "Damn it, even if I die. Don't even think about having a good time." The ghost-faced golden-backed centipede was injured, and it became even more ferocious. One of its tentacles once again pierced Yun Chujia's right leg. Yun Chujia's eyes were bloodshot. She was going all out. This fellow was really ruthless. He did not pull out his right leg. Instead, he used his right leg to restrain the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede's tentacles, making it unable to move freely. A few more purple needles pierced into the right eye of the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede before he pulled out his right leg. Yun Chujio raised the rolling pin and was about to smash the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede. At this moment, another ghost-faced golden-backed centipede pounced on her. With a sweep of its tail, it sent Yun Chujio flying. Yun Chujio only felt that her ribs were about to be broken. She spat out a mouthful of blood. Before she fainted, Yun Chujio thought to herself, "Damn it, I still need to have strong spiritual power." She was afraid that she would not be able to pass this test by relying on her words and intelligence. Chapter 1167 Benchao was very worried Yun Chujio fell to the ground. Fortunately, she was in the desert, so she would not be hurt if she fell. However, this fellow was seriously injured and had already fainted. The ghost-faced golden-backed centipede crawled over fiercely. Its sharp antennae flashed with a cold light and was about to stab Yun Chujia's chest. At this moment, the black bead in Yun Chujia's dantian suddenly trembled. Yun Chujio woke up from the intense pain in her dantian. Seeing the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede coming towards her, she hurriedly rolled on the ground. Only then did she dodge the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede's tentacles. The ghost-faced golden-backed centipede did not expect Yun Chujio to still be able to move after suffering such a serious injury. It was shocked and stopped for a moment. Yun Chujio took advantage of this gap and summoned the 5 immortal swords that she had not used for a long time. She gritted her teeth and added 3 more immortal swords. A total of 8 immortal swords attacked the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede's weak spot. The ghost-faced golden-backed centipede was shocked. It had seen that a cultivator could only command 2 immortal swords at most. Moreover, they were small and exquisite double swords. How could this little girl command 8 great swords at the same time? Yun Chujio commanded the 8 immortal swords to entangle the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede. She took out a super-grade blood coagulation pill and swallowed it. With the effect of the Guai Chao and the pill, Yun Chujio's injuries were soon healed. In just a short while, the 8 immortal swords could no longer stop the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede. The ghost-faced golden-backed centipede slapped the 8 immortal swords away, and its sharp antennae stabbed towards Yun Chujio again. Yun Chujio had no choice but to put away the immortal swords and attack the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede again with the purple needles. However, this ghost-faced golden-backed centipede was much smarter than the other one. It protected its key parts and did not give the purple needles any chance to attack. Yun Chujio's left leg was once again pierced by the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede's tentacles. Yun Chujio used the same trick again. She endured the intense pain and used her body to delay the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede's movement. Several small purple needles shot directly at the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede's eyes. Although the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede used its other tentacle to hit away a part of the small purple needles, there were still more than 10 small purple needles that pierced into its eyes. After Yun Chujio broke away from the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede's tentacles, the small purple needles exploded, and the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede roared in pain. The ghost-faced golden-backed centipede went berserk. Although its eyes were severely injured, it still pierced its other tentacle into Yun Chujio's chest. Yun Chujio's entire body was hung on one of the tentacles of the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede. The ghost-faced golden-backed centipede let out a shrill cry and opened its big mouth, wanting to swallow Yun Chujio into its stomach. Yun Chujio's eyes were red. "Damn it, do you want to eat me? I will kill you even if I have to risk my life." Yun Chujio opened her mouth to the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede and released several small purple needles. Following the explosion of the small purple needles, the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede began to roll on the ground. Yun Chujio was also constantly thrown around. The wound on her chest became bigger and bigger. Yun Chujio felt that she was really going to die this time. Although it was not true death, the feeling was really unpleasant. Finally, the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede stopped moving. Its body disappeared, and the tentacles that were inserted into Yun Chujio's body were also gone. However, the wound was still there, and Yun Chujio passed out. Guai Chao kept repairing Yun Chujio's wound. This little girl was really ruthless. She actually used her own body to balance the stinky centipede. In the past, when she said that she wanted to cut open its abdomen to kill it, it thought that she was just trying to scare it. Now, it seemed that this girl could really do it. In the future, when it and she could not coexist, she might really destroy both jade and stone. This grass was very worried. Chapter 1168 Guai Chao helped Yun Chujio heal her wounds with a frown. The wounds on Yun Chujio's body healed quickly. At this moment, the black bead in her dantian started to jump again. Yun Chujio felt the sharp pain in her dantian and opened her eyes. She looked at the blood stains on her clothes and could not help but smile bitterly. It seemed that she was not dead. If she was resurrected, her clothes would be the same as when she first came in. It seemed that with her physique, it would not be easy for her to die even if she wanted to. Just as Yun Chujio was complaining, a fishy smell came over. It turned out that another ghost-faced golden-backed centipede with an injured eye had followed the smell and chased after her. Yun Chujio narrowed her eyes. She had suffered a lot from these two smelly centipedes today. It was a good opportunity to vent her anger with this blind eye. As Yun Chujio thought of this, the corners of her mouth curled into a nasty smile. She took out a bag of things from her storage ring and threw it at the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede. The ghost-faced golden-backed centipede sensed the wind and instinctively used its antennae to block it. The bag of things instantly exploded, and almost all the red powder inside fell on the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede's body. The ghost-faced golden-backed centipede immediately rolled on the ground in pain. Its eyes were already badly mutilated from the explosion. Yun Chujio sprinkled the bag of chili noodles on it, and the sour taste was simply fatal. Yun Chujio naturally would not let go of such a great opportunity. She released Xiao Hanio and the others to continuously spit fireballs, and she also kept shooting purple needles. Although the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede was very powerful, it could not see anything due to the injuries in its eyes. In addition, Yun Chujio had a lot of bad ideas. After an hour, the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede was on the verge of death. Just as Xiao Hanio was about to burn it to death again, Yun Chujio stopped it. Xiao Hei, don't kill it first. Take turns to keep an eye on it. If its injuries improve, burn it for me. But don't kill it. I'll take this opportunity to rest for 2 days. These days have been too tiring. Xiao Hanio and the other two nodded in agreement. Although the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede could spray venom, it only needed to stay out of its attack range. Yun Chujio took out an all-purpose tent from her storage ring. She lay inside and slept soundly. She had not rested for a moment these past few days. She was physically and mentally exhausted. Yun Chujio slept for 2 days and 2 nights. When she woke up, she ate a big meal. Only then did Xiao Hanio spit out a fireball to burn the ghost-faced golden-backed centipede, which had been struggling for 2 days, to death. Outside the trial tower, Teacher Mao had been staring at the changes in the trial tower. When he saw the 7th level light up, he was so excited that he couldn't speak. He could only point at the trial tower with a trembling finger to signal for everyone to take a look. Everyone, including Dean Huangfu, felt that they must have had a very long dream. Yun Chujio had actually reached the 7th level. Heavens, it had been thousands of years since anyone had reached the 7th level. How did Yun Chujio do it? Some people's thoughts were completely different from before. Back then, they had thought that Yun Chujio had overestimated herself by sneaking into the trial tower, and that she was sending herself to her death. But now, their thoughts were. No wonder Yun Chujio had snuck in. It turned out that she was confident. She was truly bold with her skills. However, most people were still pessimistic. Although Yun Chujio had reached the 7th level, it was definitely more difficult to start from the 7th level. Yun Chujio could probably only stay at the 7th level. Chapter 1169 Good Mother-in-Law of Tianyuan Trial Tower, 7th floor. Yun Chujio was now on an icy plain. The environment here was much worse than the unexpected icy plain. Not only was the temperature lower, but there were also hurricanes that blew occasionally. This hurricane was not a regular hurricane, but a wind blade. In such an environment, not to mention whether a person would freeze to death, just the wind blades alone would cut a person into pieces in less than 15 minutes. Fuck. There's really no way to survive. If I had known this would happen, I would have let that stinky centipede live forever. Yun Chujio cursed as she used the rolling pin to block the wind blades. However, this was not a long-term solution. Once her spiritual power was exhausted, she could only be cut into pieces by the wind blades. Moreover, there were no demonic beasts here, so she did not know how to pass through this layer. If she could not think of a way quickly, then she would be executed countless times. If that was the case, it would be too tragic. Yun Chujio's spiritual power was gradually exhausted, and the speed of the rolling pin was slightly slower. It was cut by a wind blade on her left shoulder, and the pain made Yun Chujio grimace. Damn it, if only there was a strong enough wall, then I could hide behind it. Thinking of this, Yun Chujio gritted her teeth and kept searching in her storage ring with her spiritual sense, hoping to find something that could block the wind blade. She first took out a lot of big rocks, but unfortunately, these big rocks that were originally hard were cut into powder in just a few seconds. However, no matter what, a few dozen seconds was very precious to Yun Chujio now. At least she could catch her breath. She kept throwing out the things that she thought were hard in her storage ring, blocking it for a while. In fact, she still had a lot of spirit tools in her storage ring, both offensive and defensive. However, this guy was prepared to save these good things for last. It was obvious that the weapon spirit of the trial tower was not easy to deal with. She had to save some trump cards. While Yun Chujio was busy making things, she suddenly realized a problem. These wind blades were all parallel. If she could make a hole in the ice field, would she be able to avoid the attack of these wind blades? Yun Chujio immediately became excited when she thought of this. She used the various things in her storage ring as a barrier. Then, she brought Xiao Hei out. Mickey Mouse, dig a hole. Quickly dig a hole. I want to see if the wind blade will not blow into the hole. Xiao Hei knew that the situation was urgent, so it immediately used its claws to dig a hole. Although the 10,000-year-old ice field was very hard, it was not difficult for Xiao Hei to dig a hole. Soon, a hole about a foot deep was dug. Yun Chujio put Xiao Hei away and began to observe. Sure enough, the wind blade was straight and did not blow into the hole. She could not help but be overjoyed and quickly let Xiao Hei continue to dig the hole. Xiao Hei used all its strength and only used 15 minutes to dig a deep hole that could cover Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio could not wait to jump into the hole and activate the defensive spirit tool just in case. After waiting for a long time and seeing that the wind blades did not blow in, Xiao Hei was finally relieved. He let Xiao Hei continue to dig the deep hole and spread the snow cashmere blanket that belonged to the palace master's wife inside. The snow cashmere blanket kept her extremely warm. Yun Chujio wrapped herself tightly and sighed in her heart. The old witch was really a good mother-in-law of Tianyuan. This snow cashmere blanket had really helped her a lot. Chapter 1170 The Origin of the Wind Blades. 2 hours later, Yun Chujio finally managed to catch her breath. She felt that she had come back to life. She didn't need to worry about the wind blades for the time being. The key problem now was that there were no demonic beasts in this stage. How could she pass it? Yun Chujio thought for a long time but couldn't think of any good ideas. She decided to start meditating and cultivating. After all, there was still a lot of thunder spiritual energy in her dantian, which was enough for her to use for a period of time. From that day on, Yun Chujio would only eat and sleep and cultivate. Occasionally, she would run to the ground to check the situation, and when she couldn't hold it anymore, she would jump back into the pit. As time went by, Yun Chujio found something strange. These wind blades didn't always blow. Sometimes, they would stop, and at night, they would rest for several hours. These wind blades came from the south. Yun Chujio decided to go to the south to see what the source of these wind blades was. Therefore, Yun Chujio rested up during the day and started to travel at night. When the sun rose, she asked Xiao Hei to dig a hole again. However, the hole this time was much simpler. It was just enough for Yun Chujio to sit inside. Then, she continued to travel at night, repeating the cycle. As the journey progressed, the strength of the wind blades became stronger. It was obvious that they were getting closer to the source of the wind blades. 2 days later, Yun Chujio finally found the source of the wind blades. It was a demon beast that she had never seen before. It was extremely huge, like a snow mountain. Its body was covered with snow-white fur. The wind blades were all emitted from its huge nostrils. As it breathed, the wind blades stopped and continued. Damn, what kind of demon beast was this? She had never seen the relevant records. This was too scary. This was completely a moving killing machine. Could it be that she had to get rid of this big monster in order to pass this level? Stop bullshitting. If the monster breathed at her, she would die. How could she kill it? No wonder no one had passed the 7th level in thousands of years. It was too damn difficult. The big monster seemed to have discovered Yun Chujio as well. However, to it, Yun Chujio was like a human looking at a small ant. It was too lazy to kill her. Yun Chujio was extremely glad that the big monster was lazy enough. Otherwise, she would really die. This guy did not dare to get too close to the monster. He hid in the cave from afar and tried to think of a way to kill the big monster. He definitely could not do it during the day. He could only look at the situation at night. As the sun set, night fell. At midnight, Yun Chujio secretly poked her head out of the cave. As usual, the wind blades stopped. Under the moonlight, the figure of the big monster was exceptionally clear. Yun Chujio then realized that the wind blades did not stop completely. However, when the big monster was sleeping, the wind blades did not become so strong, it could not blow so far away, but there were still wind blades coming out of the big monster's nostrils, forming a defense in front of the big monster. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. The wind blades came from the nostrils. In other words, there would definitely be no wind blades behind the big monster. It would be great if she could go behind it. However, the big monster's back was against a huge snow mountain. How could it go behind it? Yun Chujio's eyes suddenly lit up. From that night onwards, Xiaohei began its hard work of digging holes. In order to prevent being discovered by the big monster, Xiaohei had to dig deep enough. Moreover, it could only dig at night when the big monster fell asleep. Chapter 1171 The Secret of the Monster. After 10 days of hard work, Xiaohei finally dug the hole into the snow mountain behind the big monster. Not only that, Xiaohei also dug a lot of air vents and detours on the snow mountain to avoid being suffocated to death. Xiaohei felt that ever since she followed this black-hearted master, she had not found her treasure, but her digging skills had become more skillful. Yun Chujio gritted her teeth and decided to make her move. At worst, she would just die once. In any case, she could be revived. Although she did not know what this big monster was, no matter what kind of demonic beast it was, its ears, eyes, and rear orifices were the most vulnerable areas. As long as she could get enough small purple needles, she was not afraid that she would not be able to kill it. Thus, on a dark night for a month, Yun Chujio made her move. Because the small purple needles were too small, when they entered the monster's body, the monster didn't notice them at all. Yun Chujio kept waving her hands, and when she felt that there were enough small purple needles, only then did she shout, "Explode," in her mind, and then quickly retreated back into the tunnel, in case she was killed by the big monster. The big monster was sleeping soundly when it was suddenly woken up by a sharp pain. Its head and buttocks were blasted to the point that blood was dripping. The monster was instantly enraged. It kept roaring and hitting the ground. Countless wind blades shot out from its nostrils. The entire ice field seemed to be trembling. The snow mountain behind the big monster also began to avalanche. Yun Chujio hid in the tunnel. She could not help but feel a little pity when she heard the angry roars outside. It seemed that the big monster's body was very strong. It actually did not do anything. She could only look for another opportunity. Although the snow mountain had an avalanche, Xiaohei had dug out a lot of air holes, so Yun Chujio was still safe in the tunnel. The big monster had obviously suspected Yun Chujio at the first moment. It shook its huge body and directly stepped on the hole that Yun Chujio was originally hiding in. It collapsed and kept shooting wind blades at that place. It thought that Yun Chujio was dead, so it returned to the side of the snow mountain and rested on it. Yun Chujio didn't dare to do anything else. It was only 2 days later that the monster secretly took action again. The monster had figured it out. The big monster's weakness was probably not its back and ears but its nostrils. Otherwise, how could it shoot wind blades from its nose? There must be something hidden in it. However, the wind blades kept coming out of its nostrils. It had to take the opportunity to put the small purple needle into the monster's nose when it exhaled. That would be risky. That was because the monster's nose was facing forward when it slept, and the small purple needle could not turn, so it had to shoot the small purple needle near the monster's nose and eyes. Yun Chuzhou pondered for a while and came up with a solution. She made the rolling pin longer, and the Xiaohei rat pushed itself along the rolling pin until it reached the top of the monster's face. She took the opportunity to shoot the purple needle into the monster's nose. Xiaohei rat was very strong, so it was not a problem to hold the rolling pin. The key was to climb above the monster. The risk was too great, and it might be eaten by the monster. However, there was no good way now, so she could only take the risk and try. In the middle of the night, the rolling pin stretched out from the hole, becoming longer and longer until it reached the top of the monster's head. Yun Chuzhou took off the hidden spirit ring on her hand, and now there was no spiritual energy fluctuation on her body. Then, she quietly climbed forward along the rolling pin. Suddenly, the monster opened its mouth. Chapter 1172 was the right bet. Yun Chuzhou was so scared that her heart stopped beating. Fortunately, the monster closed its mouth again. It must have been dreaming. Yun Chuzhou held her breath and continued to climb forward. She first shot a few purple needles into the monster's ears and eyes, then climbed to the top of its nose. After a round of wind blades, Yun Chuzhou quickly bent down. She waved her hands non-stop, and a few purple needles shot into the monster's nostrils. Yun Chuzhou was afraid that the monster would spit out the purple needles when it exhaled again. She did not care about exposing herself, and hurriedly ordered the purple needles to explode, and then let Xiaohei drag it in by itself. The intense pain in the nostrils woke the monster up immediately, and its huge body rolled on the ground in pain. Yun Chuzhou was right this time. The only weakness of this monster was its nostrils. Its demon core was different from other demon beasts. It was actually at the bottom of its nostrils. Yun Chuzhou's purple needles directly exploded the demon core of the monster. The monster's huge body kept rolling on the ground. A large part of the huge snow mountain had been knocked down by it. Finally, it stopped moving on the ground and the entire ice field returned to its calm state. Qi Ling, who was on the 9th level of the Tower of Trials, was so shocked that she could not close her mouth. She originally thought that this little weakling would be trapped in this Tower of Trials forever. However, she had actually coaxed and tricked her way through the 6th level, so it was fine. How could she have defeated the Snow Wind Beast on the 7th level so easily? This Snow Wind Beast was a level 28 demonic beast. In the entire Tianyuan continent, the number of people who could defeat it could be counted with one's fingers. Yun Chuzhou, a trash at the 1st level of the spirit sect, had actually killed it. She used a few small purple needles to kill a level 28 demonic beast. How was this possible? No wonder the heavenly lightning could not kill her. This little girl was really strange. Humph. She was just lucky. She happened to attack the Snow Wind Beast's weak point. Otherwise, even if she died 10,000 times, she wouldn't be able to kill the Snow Wind Beast. Darn girl, there are still 2 more floors. I don't believe that you have such good luck. This time, you only accidentally found the Snow Wind Beast's weak point. You are destined to die in the trial tower. Darn girl, the heavenly Tao doesn't allow it. Watch how I will deal with you. At this moment, Yun Chuzhou had already been transported to the 8th level of the trial tower. Unlike the dangers of the first 7 levels, this place was actually a vast grassland that shone with spring light. The endless green grass and wild flowers were a beautiful scenery no matter how one looked at it. Yun Chuzhou did not dare to be careless in her heart. The more such a scene appeared, the more dangerous it was. The trial tower's Qi Ling was very cunning. He might not be planning something bad again. Fuck, don't let me catch you. Otherwise, I'll kill you. A certain Qi Ling sneezed and had a sinister smile on his face. Darn girl, you must be scolding me. I'll let you enjoy it for a while. Soon, you'll know how powerful this Qi Ling is. Yun Chujio walked south for a while and found that the grassland was endless. Moreover, there was not a single demon beast. It was really strange. What exactly was the Qi Ling planning? Yun Chujio thought for a while but still could not figure it out. She decided to cross her legs and start cultivating. It was rare to have such a comfortable environment. It was not bad to be able to improve her spiritual power. There was nothing unusual during the whole day. It was as if Yun Chujio had arrived at a paradise. Yun Chujio sneered in her heart. She was afraid that her ultimate move would be left at night. She wanted to take advantage of the dark moon and the high wind to do something. She wanted to plot against me. Dream on. Chapter 1173, The White Bone Puppet. Yun Chujio had the three silly beasts keep an eye on her. She took the opportunity to take a nap before the sun went down. She must have a tough battle to fight at night, so she had to reserve some strength first. After the sun went down, the entire grassland became pitch black. The sky was covered by dark clouds, and there was no moonlight or starlight at all. Wu Yun and Yun Chujio looked at each other. Yun Chujio pursed her lips and took out a large necklace from her storage ring. There were 3 luminous pearls on it, and instantly, the area within a few miles was illuminated by the light. Yun Chujio felt a chill run down her spine when she saw the scene in front of her. This was no longer the grassland that was full of vitality during the day. This was a freaking boneyard. The ground was filled with white bones. There were demonic beasts and humans. They were emitting a faint blue light. Those who were timid would have fainted immediately. Fortunately, Yun Chujio was a daring person. She bowed to the white bones. Everyone. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. I was completely tricked into this place by the Trial Tower's Qi Ling. I didn't mean to offend you. I believe that all of you were tricked to death by this damn Qi Ling. I will burn some paper money for all of you. Recite the incantation of rebirth and rest in peace. Yun Chujio did not have any paper money. She took out a few pieces of xian paper and tore them up before throwing them on the ground. While Yun Chujio was mumbling about ferrying the souls of the dead, the white bones on the ground suddenly flew up. Yun Chujio widened her eyes and watched as the broken bones reassembled into countless human and demon beast skeletons. They pounced on her. Io! You can't repay kindness with enmity. I was kind enough to ferrying you, but you still want to kill me to be your companion. Let me tell you, I'm a black-hearted person. Even my bones are black. I'm not like you guys, I'm not a beast, and I'm definitely not a skeleton. Although Yun Chujio was shouting, her brain was working fast. This was a plane, there was no way for her to escape. Moreover, these white bone puppets did not have intelligence, so she could only fight them head-on. Yun Chujio fired several bolts of lightning at one of the skeletal puppets. When the lightning struck the white bones, other than leaving a charred black mark, it did not have much effect. On the contrary, this strike made the skeletal puppet charge at Yun Chujio even faster. Yun Chujio had no choice but to shoot out a few more purple needles. After the explosion, although the skeletal puppet's movements were slightly slowed down, it was not very effective. What was worse was that thousands of puppets had already surrounded Yun Chujio from all directions. Despite being in such a critical situation, Yun Chujio's mind was still relatively calm. How did these white bone puppets kill their prey? This fellow took out a demon beast corpse from his storage ring and threw it at the white bone puppet. Immediately, several white bone puppets surrounded the demon beast. Then, the faint blue light on the bodies of the white bone puppets gathered on the demon beast corpse. In an instant, the demon beast turned into white bones. What was even more terrifying was that the white bones turned into a new white bone puppet. Fuck. This was just like a zombie. A person who was bitten would also turn into a zombie. It was too scary. Zombies were afraid of donkey hoofs and glutinous rice. Were these white bone puppets afraid? Although Yun Chujio did not have donkey hoofs in her storage ring, she did have glutinous rice. She took out a basin and threw it at the white bone puppets. It was useless. It was over, it was over. She did not expect to pass through the 7th floor. This time, she would die at the hands of these white bone puppets. Chapter 1174, The Damned Guai Chao. At this moment, Yun Chujio was surrounded by thousands of skeletal puppets. She had activated her spiritual energy shield so that she would not be corroded into white bones by the faint blue light. However, her spiritual energy was limited and she could not last for long. What should she do? Should she use those defensive spiritual weapons? However, that was only a temporary solution. When the defensive spiritual weapons were exhausted, she would still have to die. She had to find the weak point of these white bone puppets. However, she had never read any records about them before. They were all made of white bones and did not have any weaknesses like demon beasts. How could she kill them? Originally, these were scattered bones. Something must have gathered these scattered bones back into the shape of a human or a beast. If that thing was destroyed, the white bone puppets would naturally be no threat, but what was this thing? Could it be the faint blue light on the white bone? But where did that faint blue light come from? Yun Chujio felt that she had entered a dead end. Her head hurt from thinking, but she could not think of a solution. At this time, the spiritual energy barrier had been corroded countless layers. At most, in 15 minutes, the spiritual energy barrier would be broken through. Yun Chujio gritted her teeth. It seemed that she could only use the defensive spiritual tool first. No matter what, she had to hold on until dawn. Then, she would have an entire day to think of a solution. Just as Yun Chujio was about to use the defensive spiritual tool, she felt a slight pain in her dantian. Yun Chujio looked inside her dantian and found a strange grass swaying in the air. It was Guai Chao. Although the Guai Chao could not speak, Yun Chujio could roughly guess what it meant. You mean you want me to open the spiritual energy shield? Do you have a way to deal with these skeletal puppets? Yun Chujio asked in disbelief. The Guai Chao was swaying in the air. Yun Chujio was so angry that she wanted to die. Damn it, go away ba, if you have a way to deal with it, you should have told me earlier. I was so worried that my hair turned white. However, she still had to use the Guai Chao to do her work. Although Yun Chujio wanted to strangle the Guai Chao to death. However, she still pretended to be pleasantly surprised and said, "Really? I knew that you are not an ordinary grass. Any immortal grass is not even 1,000th of yours. I just need to remove the spiritual energy shield." The Guai Chao was dizzy from Yun Chujio's praise. Its leaves were slightly curled up. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart when she saw it and even played a little shyness with it. You better get rid of these skeleton puppets. Otherwise, I will teach you a lesson. Yun Chujio gritted her teeth and removed the spiritual energy barrier. Then, she focused all her attention on Guai Chao's attack. However, after a long while, until the skeletal puppets pounced on her, the damn Guai Chao did not move at all. The faint blue light on the skeletal body began to gather on Yun Chujio's body. Yun Chujio really wanted to chop the dog's tail into pieces and feed it to the pigs. This time, she could be considered to have been tricked to death by it. When she comes back to life, I will definitely curse it to death. Qi Ling, who was lying on the 9th level of the Tower of Trials, was jumping and jumping with joy. This smelly girl was finally going to die. In the past, all the people who came to challenge the trial had died hundreds of times. This girl's spiritual power was so low, yet she managed to reach the 8th level by relying on her dog shit luck. This was simply a slap to my face. Ha ha ha, in just a few dozen breaths, this smelly girl will turn into a skeleton. Then, I will let her be resurrected to a few dozen breaths ago, and then become a skeleton again, letting her continuously enjoy the taste of death. TSK, this Qi Ling is really too mischievous. Chapter 1175 dispelled the deathly stillness. Just as the artifact spirit was showing off, it suddenly stopped showing off. Because it realized that bone puppets were beginning to fall apart. More and more bone puppets began to turn back into white bones, and the expression of the smelly girl lying on the ground changed from the initial anger to a beaming smile. Impossible. The faint blue light on these white bones was deathly stillness. How could it suddenly disappear? The aura of death was the negative emotion of those who failed the test. It had spent a lot of effort to collect it. If it was all gone, wouldn't it be a great loss? Could it be that there was a problem with the formation? The weapon spirit quickly checked the formation. When it found that there was nothing wrong with the formation, more than half of the white bone puppet had disappeared. It was so angry that it gritted its teeth. If there was nothing wrong with the formation, it must be the work of that bitch Yunchujio. Could it be that the deathly aura had been dissolved by her? That was even more impossible. This was simply the biggest joke in the world. Perhaps the deathly aura could be resolved through positive emotions, but with so much deathly aura, even 10,000 Yunchujio could not resolve it. However, what exactly was the problem? When the weapon spirit saw that the skeletal puppet was still decreasing, it was so angry that it was twitching. If this continued, the deathly aura that it had worked so hard to accumulate would be destroyed by Yunchujio, this wretched girl. It could only let her pass. At this moment, Yunchujio was happily lying on the ground. It turned out that Guai Chao's method was to absorb the blue light into her body. It seemed that she had wronged Go Weiba. HMPH, damned weapon spirit, you want to kill me? I will destroy all of your skeletal puppets. Just as Yunchujio was thinking happily, a white light flashed in front of her eyes. The scene in front of her had already changed. Outside the trial tower, it could no longer be described as a frying pan. All the onlookers were dumbfounded. A month ago, if someone said that Yunchujio could break through to the 9th level of the trial tower, they would definitely be scolded for having a problem with their brains. But at this moment, a terrifying thing actually happened in front of their eyes. Yunchujio actually broke through to the 9th level of the trial tower. And it had only taken less than a month. Most importantly, Yunchujio's cultivation was only at the 1st level of the spirit sect. Teacher Mao was extremely excited. If Yunchujio was able to break through to the 9th level, their esteemed self would definitely not pursue his negligence. Moreover, he might even be rewarded for his misfortune. Even if he could not obtain any benefits, he would still be able to die without regrets if he were to see someone break through to the 9th level of the trial tower in his lifetime. Deputy Dean Yin's injuries had long healed. He had been gloating that Yunchujio was dead for sure, but he never expected that Yunchujio had actually passed the 9th level of the trial tower. Although he consoled himself that passing the 9th level did not mean anything. After all, he could only come out after passing the 9th level, but his heart was inexplicably uneasy. A strong premonition filled his mind. It was very likely that Yunchujio managed to get to the 9th level. Deputy Dean Yin gritted his teeth. So what if she managed to get to the 9th level? This Yunchujio must have gotten lucky. Because her spiritual power was too low, the level she encountered must be different from others. Even if she managed to get to the 9th level, it wouldn't mean anything. Yin Xinlian clenched her fists tightly in the crowd. How was this possible? How could Yun Chujio, that trash, make it to the 9th level? It must be the weapon spirit of the trial tower that was playing tricks on her. Yes, it must be so. She would definitely be trapped on the 9th level. Qi Ling thought to himself. Chapter 1176, Yun Qi Trial Tower, 9th level. When Yun Chujio regained her sight, she realized that the environment she was in this time was even more pleasant. There were exotic flowers and plants everywhere, and there were also many fruit trees. They were filled with ripe spirit fruits that emitted a strange fragrance. This fellow did not stand on ceremony. He picked a few of them and began to chew on them. In any case, he could not poison her to death. Needless to say, the taste of these spirit fruits was really not bad. Yun Chujio, this fellow, never knew what it meant to be reserved. She began to stuff them into her storage ring. Perhaps these spirit fruits were not formed by the formation. How about she dig the tree away as well? Thinking of this, Yun Chujio took out her pickaxe and began to dig the tree. Qi Ling, who was hiding somewhere, was about to go crazy from anger. Those spirit fruit trees were real. However, it did not dare to go out, afraid that Yun Chujio would catch it. Without the protection of the array formation, Qi Ling was very weak and was no match for humans and demonic beasts. Yun Chujio dug a few spirit fruit trees and kept them in her storage ring. She continued to walk forward. There were pavilions and pavilions here, just like a back garden. However, other than plants, there was no other living thing. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. She did not know what kind of test this damn Qi Ling had set for her. It was probably not a simple test. Yun Chujio took a few more steps forward and suddenly saw a woman walking towards her. Yun Chujio stood stiffly on the spot. Yun Chujio's eyes welled up with tears. She knew that this was probably an illusion set up by the Qi Ling, but she still could not help but walk towards the woman. The woman's face was cold, and the corners of her eyes and brows were ice cold. When she saw Yun Chujio, she raised her eyebrows. "Beggar, you're still alive. It seems like you're living quite well. Indeed, if you're thick-skinned, you can do well anywhere. Dear Qi Qi, long time no see. Can't you say something nice? Let me tell you, everything here is different from our place. It's extremely fun. For example, this storage ring can store many, many things," Yun Chujio said as she held the woman's arm. "Get lost." Although the woman snorted in disdain, she still did not break free from Yun Chujio's arm. Moreover, her eyes became gentler. Yun Chujio held the woman's arm and went to a pavilion. After the two of them sat down, Yun Chujio was like a child. She began to show the woman the things in the storage ring and all kinds of spiritual attacks. "Qi Qi, don't think that my purple needles are unremarkable, but look, after I give the order, they will explode. Isn't it similar to dynamite? But this thing is much more environmentally friendly than dynamite. If I had this ability in the past, I wouldn't have let you help me block so many dangers. I wouldn't have let you, Yun Chujio said until here, she couldn't continue. She lay on the table and cried out loud. Yun Qi, the cold-looking woman, said indifferently, "You're just a stinking bag. So what if you have more scars on your body?" Yun Chujio wiped her tears. "You know that's not what I'm talking about. If you hadn't helped me time and time again, Yun Ling wouldn't have had a grudge against you. You wouldn't have become as cold as you are now." Yun Qi's expression changed slightly at the mention of Yun Ling, however, she returned to her cold expression in an instant. "Little Jiu, even if I didn't help you, he would have separated from me because a person like him only has ambition in his heart. I'm not suitable for him." Chapter 1177 Brother Wu Ji is suitable for you. Yun Chujio wiped away her tears. I don't care. In my opinion, it's because you helped me that you had a disagreement with him. Now that you've come to the Tian Yuan continent, it'll definitely help you find a good husband. Chi, what type of handsome man do you like? There are groups of handsome men around me now. There's Brother Wu Ji who is devilishly charming, Brother Feng Ming who is bright and handsome, and Brother Gung Yi who is straightforward. Oh right, there's also Brother Mermaid. I'm telling you, Brother Mermaid is actually a mermaid, his deep blue eyes are like sapphires, and when he laughs, hell turn into a human. Hee, which one do you like? Yun Chi was still expressionless, but the corners of her mouth curled up slightly. It was obvious that she was in a good mood. Seeing this, Yun Chujio tried even harder to introduce her. Chi, I think that my brother Black Rooster is the most suitable for you. You have a cold personality. Although my brother Wuji occasionally suffers from some idiotic diseases, he is very good at making girls happy. Moreover, he is the kind of person who spoils his girlfriend. With your cold personality, you should find a middle-aged man who is as passionate as fire. Moreover, Brother Wuji's spiritual power is not bad. He can protect you. You have always been protecting others. In the future, you can enjoy the feeling of being protected by others. Most importantly, Brother Wu Ji's mother passed away a long time ago. You don't have to deal with the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law issues. Otherwise, with your cold appearance, you'll definitely be made difficult by your mother-in-law. You don't even know that my mother-in-law-to-be acts arrogantly all day long. She feels that she's superior to others. However, she can't do anything to me. Every time she comes, she brings me warmth. Ha ha ha. Yun Chujio babbled non-stop, as if she had a nagging disease. Yun Chi only talked to her occasionally, but it was all very simple. Yes, was it? Okay, and so on. Chi, are you hungry? I have a lot of delicious food here. I'll take it out for you to eat. Yun Chujio filled the entire stone table with the things she thought were delicious in her storage ring, and she warmly invited Yun Chi to eat. Yun Chi picked up her chopsticks and lightly ate a few mouthfuls. Not bad. This place is indeed suitable for a foodie like you. Yun Chujio's eyes reddened once again. I'm fine here. You have to be fine too. I've always been fine. On the contrary, it's you who looks heartless and soft-hearted. This is a world where the strong are respected. You can't be soft-hearted anymore. Otherwise, you'll implicate others. Although Yun Chi's tone was cold, there was a faint worry in her eyes. Yun Chujio nodded hard. I'll remember it. Chi, don't you like to hear me tell jokes the most? Let me tell you. The giraffe married monkey. A year later, the giraffe filed for divorce. I don't want to live such a life of jumping up and down anymore. Monkey was furious. Divorce it is. Who has ever seen someone climb a tree just to kiss? Ha ha ha, isn't that very funny? Yun Chi did not say anything, but her sharp eyes curved into a crescent moon. Seeing this, Yun Chujio began to tell jokes again. Yun Chi's side did not do much, but the weapon spirit hidden somewhere was rolling on the ground with laughter. Damn, although this stinky girl was very annoying, the jokes she told were still very funny. It was enough for it to laugh for a long time. It seemed that this stinky girl had completely fallen into the illusion that she had set up. Then, she would just stay in there forever. HMPH, she was still too young to fight with it. Chapter 1178 was too arrogant in the back garden. There were not only pavilions and pavilions, but also bedrooms and study rooms. Everything was available. Yun Chujio was always with Yun Chi, talking about everything. Yun Qi listened quietly. Occasionally, she would fight with Yun Chujio and Yun Qi. Most of the time, Yun Chujio was beaming with joy. However, sometimes, she would secretly wipe her tears behind Yun Qi's back. Although the weapon spirit could set up an illusion, it could not see the specific illusion of the person who entered the realm. It saw that Yun Chujio's eyes were often red, and it could not help but wonder, what kind of illusion did this stupid girl enter? Why did she cry and laugh at the same time? Was she crazy? In this way, 10 days passed in a row. On this day, Yun Chujio placed a sumptuous meal on the stone table. Chi, I'll toast you with a cup of tea instead of wine. Yun Chujio poured 2 teacups full, and one of them was handed to Yun Qi. Yun Qi didn't say anything and directly drank the tea. Yun Chujio said with a smile, Chi, you always do things so straightforwardly. Chi, do you know? Ever since I transmigrated to this world, I received family and love, and I also had friendship. But the most regretful thing for me was that I would never see you again. You were the only light and warmth in my previous life, and you were also my biggest concern. I know you look cold on the surface, not human, but your heart is purer than anyone else. If it was not for you, I would have died. So I love money like my life. I just want to save enough money one day, so that we can leave the organization. Unexpectedly, I did save enough money. We also escaped from the organization. I was struck by lightning to the transmigration. I know that you will be very, very sad when you know that I'm dead, but you must be well. You must meet that man who understands you. That man must be 10,000 times better than that bastard Yun Ling. Yun Qi stared at Yun Chujio for a long time, and then 2 shallow dimples appeared on her face. Good. Seeing this, Yun Chujio hugged Yun Qi's thigh and wailed. Chi, although I know that everything is an illusion and fake, I really miss you too much. That's why I'm willing to fall into the illusion and not leave. However, there are many people outside the trial tower who care about me. I can't stay in the illusion forever. Now, I have a new goal. I want to cultivate well. There will definitely be a day when I become a god. At that time, I can tear open the void and come to see you. If you're willing, I'll bring you to the world I'm in. I will introduce Brother Wu Ji and the others to you. We will be happy together, okay? Following Yun Chujio's words, Yun Qi and everything in front of her turned into nothingness. Yun Chujio did not have the time to care about it. She sat on the ground and wailed loudly. Cough cough. Cough cough. Yun Chujio, you have passed the 9th level of the trial tower. You can leave now. Although Qi Ling said these words unwillingly. However, someone had passed the 9th level. Even if it wanted to cheat, it had no choice. Otherwise, it would be punished by the heavens. Get lost. Can't you see that I haven't howled enough? You don't even have the ability to see. Yun Chujio said fiercely and continued to howl. Qi Ling was jumping. Arrogant. Too arrogant. If it wasn't for the fact that I couldn't beat you, I would definitely teach you a lesson. However, inside this trial tower, there was only the demonic beast formed by the formation. It had no way to teach Yun Chujio a lesson, and could only stare blankly. Chapter 1179, an hour later, Yun Chujio finally had enough. She wiped her tears and looked at the Qi Ling beside her. Then, she jumped in fright. Fuck. What are you? You're too ugly. Stupid girl. You're talking nonsense. This Qi Ling is obviously the most handsome Qi Ling. Qi Ling almost fainted. This Qi Ling was obviously handsome, how could she be ugly? Yun Chujio pouted. It seems that you are not only mentally ill, but also have a problem with your taste. When did San Jiaoyan become the standard of handsomeness? Could it be that you are referring to the standard of handsome men in the frog world? You are obviously a black frog, but you still call yourself a handsome man. You are really shameless. Bitch. You are driving me mad. Do you believe that I will trap you in the 9th floor forever? I will never let you out. Qi Ling was jumping around, looking more like a black frog. Yun Chujiu pouted. If you dare to do that, would you wait for me to finish howling? Stop playing tricks in front of me, or I'll turn you into a roasted frog. You dare. Qi Ling was fierce on the outside but weak on the inside. However, when it saw Yun Chujiu directly striking at it with a purple lightning bolt, it was immediately terrified. Little fairy, I'm joking. How could I do such a shameless thing? Look, you've been here for a long time, shouldn't you go out? Otherwise, the people outside will be worried about you. Stop fooling around. Where's the reward? I've cleared the level, shouldn't there be a mountain of supreme-grade spirit stones and tens of thousands of immortal artifacts? Qi Ling was so angry that she almost fainted. Do you think I'm a treasure basin? And a mountain of supreme-grade spirit stones and tens of thousands of immortal artifacts. Why don't you go and rob them? Little fairy, my trial tower is for people to train, how can there be any reward? Have you heard of anyone who cleared the first level and got the reward? Qi Ling's eyes flashed with a trace of treachery. Yun Chujiu sneered twice. Little black frog, do you know what is the most unique characteristic of me, Yun Chujiu? Xiao Hei frog. Qi Ling almost spat out a mouthful of blood. This smelly girl's mouth was really too sarcastic. Little fairy, isn't your most unique characteristic a beautiful person with superb spiritual power? Although Qi Ling wanted to strangle Yun Chujiu to death, he still said obsequiously. Humph. Stop flattering me. Although what you said is the truth, my greatest characteristic is that I never leave empty-handed. If you don't give me something good, do you believe that I will tear down your 9th floor? I will turn your back garden into ruins. Yun Chujiu said fiercely. Qi Ling rolled his eyes and said, Little fairy, to tell you the truth, there is really no reward for passing the 9th floor. How about this? I still have some private money, so I will give it to you. After saying that, Qi Ling dropped dozens of supreme-grade spirit stones on the ground. Yun Chujiu blinked her eyes and put the spirit stones into her storage ring, then, she looked at Qi Ling with a faint smile. Xiao Hei, do you think he'll believe that you only have so much? Do you want to take it out voluntarily, or do you want me to force you to take it out? Originally, I didn't want to enter the trial tower, but you forced me in. I suffered so much because of you. Don't you think we should settle the score? After saying that, Yun Chujiu commanded the 8 immortal swords to fly around the weapon spirit. Every time, they barely brushed past the weapon spirit's body. The weapon spirit was so frightened that its triangular eyes stood on their ends. Qi Ling, San Jiaoyan, Qi Ling. Chapter 1180, I will come again, little fairy, fairy speaks but doesn't act. Quickly put this thing away. Qi Ling was about to cry. This was a fucking pervert. How could there be such a strong spiritual sense in the first level of the spirit sect? To be able to command 8 immortal swords, he was simply inhuman. Moreover, you already have 8 immortal swords, why are you still blackmailing me? It's not easy for me to save some private money. With a bitter face, Qi Ling poured out more than 100 top-grade spirit stones, then, with a sobbing voice, she said, Little fairy, we really don't have any more this time. You also know that these top-grade spirit stones are not cabbages, these 200 are already a lot. Yun Chujiu curled her lips. She knew that Qi Ling must have a lot of top-grade spirit stones, but compared to top-grade spirit stones, she wanted some spirit tools or secret books more. Therefore, she said fiercely, even if you don't have any spirit stones, you should have something good, right? For example, a treasure map of an immortal tool. If you don't have it, I will shave all your fur and make you a naked frog. Seeing that Yun Chujio was really going to make a move, Qi Ling shouted anxiously, "Stop! Stop! I will give it to you." Qi Ling reluctantly handed Yun Chujio a jade token and a sheepskin scroll. "Little fairy, there is really nothing left this time." Yun Chujio took the jade token and sheepskin scroll and looked at them. They were similar to the ones she got in the Wuwei Tower. They seemed to be the same kind of goods. She didn't know what these jade tokens and maps were used for, however, the things that came out of the divine artifact couldn't be wrong. She just had to keep them. Yun Chujio sneered. "Xiao Hei, don't think that I don't know that you have a lot of supreme-grade spirit stones. However, the illusion that you set up for me allowed me to see someone I really want to see. I'll let you off today. Send me out." Hearing Yun Chujio's words, the weapon spirit of the trial tower hurriedly brought Yun Chujio to a teleportation point. Qi Ling and Yun Chujio had already arrived at a teleportation point. "Little fairy, don't come in after you leave. The demonic beasts here are too weak. They're not your match at all." The weapon spirit said obsequiously, thinking to himself, "Don't come and harm me. I don't want you to plunder all the supreme-grade spirit stones that I have left. Don't worry. I'll come here often in the future. Although the demonic beasts here are a little stupid, they can still increase my combat experience. We'll meet again. See you later." Yun Chujio stepped into the teleportation array after saying that. Qi Ling watched Yun Chujio disappear with a bitter face. It was over. It seemed that the remaining supreme-grade spirit stones would be taken away by this little pervert sooner or later. This little pervert was already so perverse on the first level of the spirit sect. If her spiritual power became stronger, wouldn't it be as easy as playing with her? Oh God, I hope you can bless this little pervert to find another trial location as soon as possible. Please don't let her come in again. It was noon outside the trial tower. Everyone spontaneously gathered outside the trial tower to watch. After all, someone had broken through to the 9th level of the trial tower. This was a once-in-lifetime opportunity. Yin Sulian's injuries had basically healed. Although she did not dare to get close to Xue Wuji, she still could not help but run outside the trial tower to watch. She heard everyone's discussion about Yun Chujio, something like a rare genius that appeared once in 1,000 years. She snorted coldly and said, "It's just dog shit and luck. There's no way she can break through to the 9th level." Just as Yin Sulian's words fell, a figure was ejected from the trial tower and coincidentally landed on Yin Sulian's body. Chapter 1181 was really too shameless. Yun Chujio originally thought that she was going to be smashed to pieces. She did not expect that it would be so soft down there. Could it be that someone had prepared a cushion? Yun Chujio looked at it and was amused. TSK, Yin Sulian, you usually don't get along with me. I did not expect you to care about me so much. After knowing that I was sent out, you actually took the initiative to catch me down there. You are really a good classmate of Tianyuan. Yin Sulian was already hit quite badly. When she heard Yun Chujio's words, she choked and fainted. Yun Chujio widened her eyes in surprise. Although you were very excited when you saw that I was safe and sound, you wouldn't be so excited that you fainted, right? TSK, I didn't expect you to have true love for me. Everyone couldn't bear to look at her. Shameless. Really too shameless. You were clearly the one who knocked me unconscious, but you actually pretended to be innocent here. You're really shameless. Yun Chujio stood up as if nothing had happened. Then, she saw Di Biming standing in the distance. Although Di Biming was expressionless, the longing and concern in his eyes were overflowing. Yun Chujio's heart felt warm, however, she was still too weak now. If their relationship was made public, even Di Biming wouldn't be able to protect her. Hence, Yun Chujio winked at Di Biming and jumped in front of Dean Huangfu. "Dean, I'm out. I've made you worried." Although Dean Huangfu was very excited, he had a serious expression on his face. "Nonsense. Why did you sneak into the trial tower?" Yun Chujio blinked innocently. "Dean, I didn't sneak into the trial tower. I was forcefully sucked in by the trial tower's Qi Ling Yim in big trouble. I died and lived in there. I lived and died. In the end, I spent spirit stones to bribe the Qi Ling before it let me out. It was purely trying to torture me." When Yun Chujio said this, her voice was not soft, so almost everyone heard what Yun Chujio said and immediately exploded. "What? Yun Chujio didn't sneak in. She was forcefully sucked in by the Qi Ling. How is that possible? Did she say that to avoid punishment? It shouldn't be. Yun Chujio may be bold, but she's not stupid. Besides, she saw those people taking the jade medallions. I guess what she said is true. After all, she has a heavenly thunder spirit root. Even the Tian Dao won't tolerate her. I guess the Qi Ling of the trial tower wants to trap her inside. Now that you put it that way, it makes sense. But how did she manage to break through to the 9th level? Didn't she say it? That weapon spirit wanted to torture her. I reckon that he had done enough and extorted money from her before releasing her. Otherwise, do you think that a Qi Ling of the 1st level of the spirit sect can break through to the 9th level? This is a joke. Although the people present were skeptical, they also felt that Yun Chujio, a Qi Ling of the 1st level of the spirit sect, wouldn't be able to break through the 9th level of the trial tower on her own. The weapon spirit of the trial tower must have let her off. Dean Huangfu naturally did not probe further, so he said, "You have also suffered a lot in there. Go back and rest first. Come and see me in the study tomorrow morning." Yun Chujio nodded. She bowed slightly to Di Biming and Xue Wuji before turning around and leaving. Di Biming and Xue Wuji naturally would not leave as well for the sake of putting on an act. Instead, they continued to meditate in front of the Tower of Trials. In fact, their hearts had already flown to Yun Chujio's place. Yun Chujio returned to her dormitory and took a nice hot bath. After that, she laid on the bed and slept. These days, she was simply exhausted. When she was half awake, she felt that there was an additional person on the bed. Chapter 1182 Are you in a hurry to marry me? This fellow was immediately startled awake. When he opened his eyes, it was actually Di Biming. "Prince Charming, why are you here?" Yun Chujio asked in a daze. Di Biming did not speak. His hot lips directly kissed her. Yun Chujio felt that she was like a small boat on the vast ocean that was brought up and down by Di Biming. She felt that she was going to faint. After a long while, Di Biming resisted the urge to take another step forward. He asked in a hoarse voice, "Did you suffer a lot in there? I originally wanted to enter the trial tower to save you, but when I thought that this might be your opportunity, I didn't enter rashly. If you still don't come out in another month, I will definitely enter." "Prince Charming, didn't I tell you? Don't worry, a scourge like me won't die easily. If such a thing happens again in the future, you don't have to worry too much. A blessed person like me will definitely be able to meet with misfortune." Yun Chujio said languidly in Di Biming's embrace. Di Biming gently kissed Yun Chujio's hair. "Little Jiu, when can we announce our relationship? It's really too difficult to see you like this. Prince Charming, I also want to be with you openly, but you also know that you are too popular. The three sisters of the academy are all watching you. Moreover, although the power behind them isn't comparable to the Temple of Immortals, it's not for nothing. It's already difficult enough for me to deal with the Yin family now. If the other two interfere, I really can't handle them. Di Baiming knew that what Yun Chuzhou said was the truth. Although the Temple of Immortals had a high status in the Tian Yuan continent, he could not interfere in the Tian Yuan Academy. Furthermore, if he was careless, little Jiu's situation would be dangerous. He could only wait for little Jiu's strength to increase a little more. Oh right, Prince Charming, I activated the protective array. How did you get in? Di Baiming curled the corners of his lips. Do you think a small protective array can stop me? Yun Chuzhou curled her lips. Looking at your smug look, pretend that I didn't say anything. A few days ago, my mother came over. Did she make things difficult for you? Di Baiming really couldn't do anything about his random mother. No matter how he explained it, he just didn't like little Jiu. Yun Chuzhou giggled, my aunt is very good to me. Not only did she give me 1,000,000 upper-grade spirit stones, she also gave me a lot of spirit tools. The corner of Di Baiming's eyes twitched violently. Aunt? Yun Chuzhou told him everything, then, she said, Prince Charming, it's not that I want to say it, but Aunt is good in every way. It's just that she really doesn't have the energy to squander. In the future when we get married, it's better for me to have the financial power. The corner of Di Baiming's eyes twitched violently again. Then, he asked with a smile, are you in a hurry to marry me? If you agree, I'll marry you tomorrow. Yun Chuzhi's 10,000 years of thick skin began to blush slightly. I'm not. Besides, your mother said that she would only agree to our marriage if I entered the top 100 of the prodigy roll. Who cares? My mother is a sharp tongue but a soft heart. As long as you agree, I will arrange the marriage tomorrow. Di Baiming could see but could not eat. He had long been anxious to marry Yun Chuzhou. It was fine if he did not attend Tianyuan Academy. At most, he could teach little Jiu. Yun Chuzhou shook her head. No, since I have said it, I have to do it. Otherwise, your mother will laugh at me for the rest of my life. Moreover, I want to become stronger. I don't want to be a burden to you. I want to be your helper. Oh right, Prince Charming, what realm can you cultivate to before you can travel through time and space? Chapter 1183, I want to give birth to a monkey for him, time travel. What do you mean by time travel? Di Baiming asked with a frown. How should I put it? Prince Charming, there's something I haven't told you. Actually, I wasn't originally from the Qing Xian continent, Yun Chuzhou told him about her time travel. She didn't tell him before because she was afraid that it would be too unbelievable and Di Baiming wouldn't believe it. Moreover, the relationship between the two of them wasn't that close. Yun Chuzhou felt a little uneasy after she finished talking. After all, she was a little vixen who had lived for 2 lifetimes. Would the pretty boy have any bad thoughts? Unexpectedly, after Di Baiming heard it, he hugged Yun Chuzhou even tighter. Little Jiu, you must have suffered a lot in the world that you mentioned. I will treat you even better in the future so that you won't suffer anymore. Yun Chuzhou never thought that Di Baiming would say such words after hearing her background. Her eyes were slightly moist. The two of them were silent for a long time, and they just hugged each other tightly. Little Jiu, when you said to travel through time and space, you meant to tear apart the void. Only gods can do such a divine ability, but it is said that gods have been extinct for hundreds of thousands of years. Yun Chuzhi's mood was a little depressed when she heard this. It seemed that she would not be able to see Yunqi anymore. Little Jiu, don't be too sad. Since you can travel through time and space, that Lady Yunqi that you mentioned might also be able to travel through time. There is a fixed fate in the dark. You will definitely meet her again. If I see her again, I will definitely thank her for taking care of you for me for so many years. Di Baiming felt that ever since he met Yun Chuzhou, he had said more than the previous 20 years combined. Yun Chuzhou's eyes lit up. Yes. Maybe Chi will also transmigrate. When the time comes, I will introduce Brother Wu Ji to her. She has a cold personality and Brother Wu Ji is as passionate as fire. The two of them are the most suitable. Di Baiming was slightly jealous of Shui Wuji before. Now that he heard Yun Chuzhou say this, he decided not to lower himself to Shui Wuji's level anymore. In little Jiu's heart, he treated him like a brother, otherwise, she would not have taken the trouble to introduce him to a girl. Di Baiming suddenly saw Yun Chuzhou's chest reveal a touch of snow white. His throat tightened. This kind of seeing but not touching was really killing. Little Jiu, what have you not come yet? Di Baiming asked with a slightly red face. Yun Chuzhou was stunned. Then, she understood Di Baiming's meaning, she puffed her cheeks and said, yeah, I'm also puzzled. My 5th and 7th sisters have been here since they were 13 years old. Why haven't I come yet? Could it be that I'm a fake woman, but in fact, I'm a real man? The corner of Di Baiming's eyes twitched violently. Nonsense. When you go to Changfeng for your rest, he'll ask the elders in the hall who are proficient in medical skills to take a look at you. Yun Chuzhou nodded. Indeed, she should take a look. It would be better if she did not have any hidden illness. I still want to give birth to a monkey for the pretty boy. Little Jiu, go to sleep. When you fall asleep, I will leave. In order to prevent others from suspecting, Shui Wuji and I will cultivate outside the trial tower for a few days before leaving. And, Prince Charming, sing me a lullaby. I haven't heard it for a long time. Yun Chuzhou yawned and said. Di Baiming gritted his teeth and still started singing. Yun Chuzhou fell asleep in a short while. Di Baiming kissed her forehead before activating the concealment talisman and leaving Yun Chuzhou's courtyard. Chapter 1184. Pulse reading. The next day, Yun Chuzhou woke up feeling refreshed. Only when there was a comparison would there be a difference. Initially, she did not think that there was anything good about these ordinary days. However, after a month in the trial tower, she felt that these days were simply too comfortable. Yun Chuzhou had a simple breakfast and rushed to Dean Huangfu's study. Dean Huangfu was waiting anxiously. He was extremely curious. How did Yun Chuzhou pass the 9-story trial tower? This was too mysterious. Yun Chuzhou had thought of an excuse last night. Based on what had happened, she had cut down the parts that could not be said, and after some processing, there was a new version. Yun Chuzhou rambled on about the processed version. Dean Huangfu was stunned when he heard it. How did this work? She used a piece of red cloth to kill a level 22 single-horned bull. She used her mouth to kill 3 level 25 bloodthirsty wolves. However, this little girl was really ruthless. She didn't hesitate to cripple her own legs and killed 2 ghost-faced golden-backed centipedes. However, the level of the demon beasts Yun Chuzhou encountered was indeed lower than the normal ones. It was probably because the weapon spirit of the trial tower thought that her spiritual power was too low and didn't pay much attention to her. How would Dean Huangfu know that Yun Chuzhou had already gone through the process? Dean Huangfu asked some more details. Yun Chuzhou was a good liar, so she naturally answered all the questions. Then you should go back to class. Although you have delayed for a month, you have already mastered the materialization of spiritual power, so it's not a big deal. Cultivate well and try to get a good result in the mid-year competition 1 month later. Dean Huangfu said with a smile. After Yun Chuzhou thanked him, she hopped out of Dean Huangfu's courtyard. Dean Huangfu looked at Yun Chuzhiu's back and scolded with a smile, this little girl must have hidden a lot of things. However, she's really a monster to be able to pass the 9th level of the 4th level of the spirit sect. Di Baiming and Xue Wuji cultivated outside the trial tower for another 5 days before they left. Before they left, they looked as if they had understood something. Only then did everyone understand that the two of them had really come to the trial tower to look for opportunities. Could it be that cultivating outside the trial tower could really achieve twice the result with half the effort? From then on, there were often people meditating outside the trial tower to cultivate. A blind cat met a dead rat, and there really was a person who had broken through. Hence, the rumors became even more miraculous. There were many people meditating outside the trial tower every day. Teacher Mao, who knew the truth, secretly pursed his lips. These bunch of idiots were really stupid. Yun Chuzhou even specially apologized to Teacher Mao afterward, saying that she had troubled Yun Yun. The resentment in Teacher Mao's heart also vanished into thin air. When Yun Chuzhou came to the trial tower again, her attitude was so amiable that it was like the spring breeze in March. On this day, when it was the day of rest, Yun Chuzhou recalled the matter that Di Baiming had mentioned and came to Long Wind and eagerly. Anfeng and shopkeeper Qi had not seen Yun Chuzhou for a long time. Anfeng brought Yun Chuzhou to the secret room where an elder was waiting. Miss Jiu, this is Elder Su from the Temple of Immortals. He is good at medicine. Please let him take her pulse. Anfeng said. There were not many men and women in the Tianyuan continent, so Elder Su took Yun Chuzhiu's pulse and became worried. Yun Chuzhou was shocked in her heart. Could it be that she really had some hidden illness? Chapter 1185, You don't know how to be tactful, Elder Su, could it be that there is something wrong with my body? Yun Chuzhou asked a little nervously. Elder Su sighed and rambled on. The conclusion was that Yun Chuzhiu's body was lacking in blood and qi, which was why the sunflower water did not come. Elder Su gave Yun Chuzhou a long formula for nourishing her body. On it were all spirit herbs that could nourish the blood and qi. He asked Yun Chuzhou to take a look first and check it again in a month. Yun Chuzhou returned to the Tianyuan Academy and told Di Baiming Elder Zu's conclusion. Then, she added, Prince Charming, I don't know why, but I feel that it's not that simple. Di Baiming comforted her, Little Jiu, you don't have to worry too much. If it really can't be done, I still have my master. Everything will definitely be fine. Yun Chuzhou thought for a while and threw this matter aside. Because now, there was an even bigger problem in front of her. There was less than a month before the mid-year competition, but the students of the Huang class had been delayed by Teacher Zhou, and their foundation was worse than the previous 3 classes, therefore, the mid-year competition was really a difficult hurdle. As the class monitor, she had to do something. Yun Chuzhou asked the 3rd group to gather all the information about the mid-year competition. After she looked at it, she found that the so-called mid-year competition was not a one-on-one battle on the competition stage. Instead, all the first-year students would be thrown into a place, and then according to the requirements, they would pick spiritual herbs or hunt demon cores. According to the ranking of points, the last 50 students would be eliminated. Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes and immediately had an idea. During the mid-year grand competition, when everyone entered, they would not be separated. When the time came, she could distribute all the items equally, this way, although everyone's ranking was not high, they would not be eliminated. Yes, that was the plan. After solving this difficult problem, Yun Chujio felt much more relaxed. She remembered that she had not seen the dry old man for many days, so she hopped into the library. Senior, I'm here. Yun Chujio said loudly when she reached the 8th floor of the library. So what if you're here? What are you shouting for? The dry old man appeared out of nowhere and berated her with an unhappy face. Yun Chujio was stunned when she saw the old man. Although the old man was dry in the past, he was full of vigor. Why did he become so dispirited after not seeing him for a month? It was as if the vitality in his body was rapidly draining away. Senior, what's wrong with you? Are you poisoned or is your old illness acting up? Yun Chujio asked with concern. The dried-up old man's face darkened, then, he scolded, I'm fine, how could I be poisoned or have an old illness? It's better to study your ancient characters properly. You're so stupid, you haven't managed to study much after such a long time. Come here quickly after class. The dried-up old man said fiercely, thinking to himself, if the little girl still couldn't learn it, it would be too late. I'm afraid I won't be able to last more than a month. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and didn't ask any further questions. She focused on studying the ancient characters. In the evening, after Yun Chujio left the library, she went straight to Dean Huangfu's courtyard. Dean! Why does the dried-up old man in the library look like he's going to die? Is he poisoned or suffering from an old illness? Yun Chujio asked directly when she saw Dean Huangfu. The corner of Dean Huangfu's eyes twitched. This little girl spoke too rashly. What did she mean by looking like she was about to die? Can't you be more tactful? Chapter 1186 Hong Meng Heaven and Earth Fruit. Dean Huangfu sighed and said, Old Jiang's injury is an old illness, and he has yet to find the missing spirit herb, so I'm afraid he doesn't have much time left. If not for his old illness, old Jiang wouldn't have been holed up in the library all this time. What kind of spirit herb is missing? I can't believe I haven't found it. Yun Chujio asked curiously. With the strength of the Tian Yuan Academy, how could they not be able to find it? The primordial chaos heaven and earth fruit. It is said that this kind of spirit fruit can only be found in ancient times. It is a spirit fruit that is even more precious than the Hun Dun fruit. It is almost a legendary existence. Sigh, all these years, we have tried our best and mobilized all our strength to search for it. However, there is still no news. I'm afraid that this primordial chaos heaven and earth fruit has already gone extinct in the Tian Yuan continent. Dean Huangfu sighed and said. Primordial chaos fruit. What does that fruit look like? I'll get my Prince Charming to help look for it. Although she had not known the dry old man for long, he was still half her master, so she naturally did not want to let him die just like that. Dean Huangfu took out a picture book from his storage ring, flipped to a page, and handed it to Yun Chujio. This is the primordial chaos fruit. It is said that after eating it, not only will one's spiritual power increase greatly, but it can also cure many chronic diseases. Yun Chujio took the picture book from Dean Huangfu, and was stunned after reading it. This is the Hong Meng Heaven and Earth fruit. Isn't this the fruit that she ate in the backyard of Xiao Hei's frog? She even put a lot of it in her storage ring, and she even dug up a tree of this kind of fruit. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. Dean, are you sure this is really the Hong Meng Heaven and Earth fruit? Are you pointing it out wrong? Dean Huangfu snorted in displeasure. I'm not old yet, how could I be wrong? This is the Hong Meng Heaven and Earth fruit. Elder Jiang's injuries are only short of this spirit herb. Sigh. I'm afraid it's really extinct. Dean, nothing is absolute. Maybe things will turn around. Maybe you'll find this Hong Meng Heaven and Earth fruit. Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. Dean Huangfu glared at her. What time is it? You still haven't come to your senses. I heard from old Jiang that he is teaching you ancient characters. You should study hard. I'm afraid that old Jiang won't be able to hold on for long. Dean, please calm down. What I'm going to say next might scare you. Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. Dean Huangfu became even angrier. I'm already so old. What is it that makes me lose my cool? Just say what you want to say. Okay, Dean. Actually, I have the Hongmeng Heaven and Earth fruit, Yun Chuzhou said seriously. Dean Huangfu was stunned at first, then he became furious. Yun Chuzhou. It's fine if you usually mess around. But you are still spouting nonsense when people's lives are at stake. How outrageous. Yun Chuzhou pursed her lips, she took out a fruit from her storage ring and waved it in front of Dean Huangfu. Dean, since you think that I'm spouting nonsense, I'll just eat this fruit. I'm thirsty anyway. It's just a crappy fruit. Just eat it. What are you talking about? Dean Huangfu suddenly snatched the fruit from Yun Chuzhou's hand and was so excited that he almost jumped up. This, Hongmeng Heaven and Earth fruit. How did you get this Hongmeng Heaven and Earth fruit? Dean Huangfu was so excited that he started stuttering. The little black frog in the trial tower gave it to me. I couldn't bear to eat it, so I kept it. Yun Chuzhou would never say that she had already eaten more than 10 of them and then dug up the other tree. Chapter 1187, Out. Dean Huangfu was so shocked that he couldn't close his mouth. After a long while, he said, "This is it. The trial tower is a divine artifact that has existed for tens of thousands of years after all. It's not surprising that there's a primal chaos heaven and earth fruit in it. However, is Xiao He the item spirit of the trial tower?" "That's right. That item spirit elder is really too ugly. He's like a black frog. He extorted a lot of spirit stones from me before he gave me a fruit. That's why I haven't been willing to eat it." Yun Chuzhou said nonsense in an extremely natural manner. Dean Huangfu wished he could slap this fellow to death. This was an ancient spirit fruit. No matter how many spirit stones he had, it was still a treasure that couldn't be bought. Why would he still feel sorry for his few dollars? Dean Huangfu wasn't in the mood to argue with Yun Chuzhou at this moment. He handed the Hongmeng Heaven and Earth fruit to Yun Chuzhou. "Let's go. Well, go look for Elder Jiang. If he finds out about this news, he'll definitely be extremely happy." Dean Huangfu felt that this was all predestined. If old man Jiang had not taken a fancy to Yun Chuzhou and wanted to teach her ancient characters, Yun Chuzhou would not have found out that old man Jiang's illness had relapsed. Naturally, she would not have told him that she had the Hongmeng Heaven and Earth fruit. Everything was just right. Old man Jiang should not have died. Dean Huangfu and Yun Chuzhou soon arrived at the 8th floor of the library. The dry old man saw Yun Chuzhou return and even called Dean Huangfu over. His face darkened. "I've already said that I'm fine. Why did you call Dean here?" Dean Huangfu was about to speak. Yun Chuzhou said first, "Senior, it's like this. You don't have to hide it anymore. I don't think you'll live much longer. You should tell me about your funeral. No matter what, I'm still your disciple. Shouldn't you leave all your good stuff to me?" I called the dean over as a witness. The dry old man was furious. "You little brat, I'm not dead yet, and you're already thinking about my things. In your dreams. I won't leave my things to you even if I feed you to the dogs. TSK, senior, why bother? If you leave them to me, I can still burn incense for you on the 15th day of the Lunar New Year." If you feed them to the dogs will pay a visit to your grave. Dean Huangfu really didn't know what Yun Chujio was up to. He thought to himself, is this little girl looking for trouble? Is she sick? The dry old man hadn't been this angry for so many years. He was so angry that he cursed, "Get lost. Don't let me see you in the future. Otherwise, I'll throw you out every time you come in. I'm so angry. You little bastard is even more detestable than Shui Wuji. Senior, do you really want me to get lost? If I really get lost, I won't be able to come back. Don't you regret it?" Yun Chujio said with a cheeky smile. The veins on the dry old man's forehead were bulging with anger. "Get lost. I won't regret it. The one who regrets is my grandson." The corner of Dean Huangfu's eyes twitched violently. "Old man Jiang, I'm afraid you'll have to slap your own face later. Have you ever offended this little girl? This fellow is obviously setting a trap." When Yun Chujio heard old man Jiang say this, she sighed. "Sir Dean, it seems that my sincerity has been taken as a donkey's liver and lungs. I originally thought that Senior would take me in as a disciple after saying this, but I didn't expect him to actually ask me to scram. I'm really too sad. I'll keep the primal chaos heaven and earth fruit in my hands for myself to eat. It's so sad that I'm worse than a dog. I'll leave you to it." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.